I'm Charlie Kirk, we carry the in mortis humus inquirimus adiutorem nisite Domine peccatis nostris. Sancte Deo, Sancte Fortis, Sancte et Misericors Salvator, amae mortine, tradas nos. Intes vera veron patres nostri, spere averon et liberasti eos. Sancte Deo, Sancte Fortis, Sancte et Misericors Salvator, amae mortine, tradas nos. Sancte Deo, Sancte Fortis, Sancte et Misericors Salvator, amae mortine, tradas nos. Sancte Deo, Sancte Fortis, Sancte et Misericors Salvator, amae mortine, tradas nos. Media vita in mortis humus.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're having a wonderful night tonight. It is Fridays, my dudes, so it is a relaxed, casual Friday where nothing of note happened right before the weekend kicks off, right before everybody starts traveling over to SHOT Show. Lots and lots and lots and lots of fun new stuff, but also some fun news and a little bit of silly shenanigans to kick things off with today. I did also want to say to everybody, thank you very much for hanging out, for supporting. But, over the last week or so, both channels, Richard doesn't know this because he doesn't pay attention, but both of the channels received strikes. I appealed them and magically won both of them. I've never won back-to-back strike appeals before on both channels. So how long we may or may not be on YouTube is it is 50-50 right now if we make it out of 2026. Early odds not looking so good on YouTube for either channel. But I do want to thank everybody for hanging out. If it ever goes down, I'm sure we'll figure something out. So thank you to everybody for coming on, for hanging out. And the stream is going to be a little different tonight. We've been too negative. Probably one of the things that I get complained about too much online. I point out all the negatives. I have, pesky little ideals and standards, which get in the way of companies making big money, shilling products and whatnot. So those pesky little standards get in the way, but I've been too negative as of late. So we're going to start out with a couple nice little white pills, a couple nice little silly things before we get into the horrifying madness. Okay. So there will be a couple white pills. All right. Richard, how's your night going, sir?
Good.
Anything
Short and
else?
sweet. Nope.
All right.
That's it.
Hey, you were not aware that the second channel got a strike, were you?
No, I was not. I was
Mhm.
not. I don't.
Yeah,
pay
no, it got a
attention to
legitimate strike, and I had to appeal it, and I won. I won both strikes on the main channel and this channel. Otherwise, we would not be streaming right now.
Hmm.
But, and this was several days ago too, by the way. So, but let's go ahead and start out with something fun then. And yes, actually, before we get going, I have to, because Jay Lewis has already dropped $50, like an absolute monster. Jay Lewis for 20 says, I shot the afternoon with my brand new ACOG TA01. I was rather impressed with the irons on it. 32.32. Average splits at 30 paces, 12-inch groupings with the TA01 irons. I'm very impressed with it. Well, there's not a lot of better ways to spend an afternoon than shooting your new optic, which when I say new optic, I mean, 30 years old, but new to you, right? But no, that's awesome. Glad to hear. I'm glad you like that. Shooting ACOGs and irons together. Yeah, it's like the irons on a Elcan. They're there, but only that. And for another $30.
And I think it's retarded and gay. Okay? Yeah. Damn.
Says friend's secret, 15 minutes of CCW dry fire a day makes you one of the top 5% most dangerous men in the world. Yeah, if you want to be like elite compared to the average person, know how to throw a punch, know how to not take a punch, understand a double leg and a single leg, and carry a gun and be mildly good with it. Like, it's pretty simple, right? A little bit of wrestling, a little bit of striking, and of course, having a gun and being able to use it will get you out of 99.9% of scenarios. It also gets you a 100% off coupon at most banks. Some people are granted 0% loans, but a gun and a ski mask can also get you a 0% loan.
Sounds
Just saying.
logical.
Just saying. All right. Well, let's start out with the first little white people. Dudes being dudes and doing good things. Sorry, you were going to say something?
Didn't know if you wanted to say congratulations to Lee Hendo, because it appears that he is a father.
Liendo says, this might be late and gay, the world might be fake and gay, but I have been the father of a beautiful, happy, healthy, smiling little boy for 3 days. God is good and Christ is king, man. That is very amazing to hear. Lee, I hope you're having a wonderful time with your wife and your new baby. The first, depending on what type of kid you have, sometimes the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks are miserable, and sometimes they're super easy. Like 2 out of 3 of our kids have just like ate and slept all day. And so it's like, oh, this is like the hard part. This is the easy part. And now they're 2, 3, 4 years old and they're screaming and crying, jumping on tables and flooding the basement, So it's a little different, but I hope that it is going very well for you, sir. That is very good to hear. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
That's why we do all of this.
Flooding basements. Yes, that's why we. No. But it is good. The human connection, making families, reproducing the Imago Dei, I think is a good thing. All right. Now, moving on to this, which, hey, is another good thing. This is from Colin Rugg. New man jumps out of his car and saves 2 toddlers from getting hit after they walked into the middle of a busy road in Brevard County, Florida. The toddlers had snuck out of a backyard and the parents didn't even realize they were gone. John Brittingham, a father of 5 and a grandfather, said his life would have been ruined if something happened to them. For whatever this man's political beliefs may or may not be, like, that's the type of person you want to be. That's your fatherly, paternal instincts kicking in, right? And it's taking responsibility for those around you, for your nation, for the children of your nation, taking responsibility as a father himself, as a grandfather as well. Says, I was terrified. If anything would have happened to them, my whole life would have been ruined, Brittingham said. Hero. Now, it is not just this one man doing something so idyllic and simple as this, right? This is the obvious, simple, correct moral choice. There's no gray area here. You should stop whatever you're doing, no matter the inconvenience, and it's help to save or protect these 2 children. But for us, it's also important to note. For us, it's also important to note that we have to extrapolate this to our culture and our people as a whole. Right. So we should be looking at how we can best optimize and prioritize the people in our life that matter the most. Sorry, what were you going to say, Richard?
Specifically, this road here that they're on, this is A1A. Right behind them is the beach. This is one of the most busy roads in the county aside from the interstate. The fact that nothing happened to these kids because of this man is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Bravo.
And we'll watch it again here in full. But yeah, it's doing what you should do. People are saying this guy's a granddad. It's like, well, yeah, I'm gonna be a granddad at like 48 if I play my cards right. Okay, so I'll be sub 50 granddad.
Yeah, I was
That's
gonna
the
say,
plan.
I think he is in his late 40s. I'm gonna see if I can't reach out.
That's
I
about
may know
normal.
this man.
That's about normal. Like, not obviously maybe in modernity, but throughout all of history, like 40-year-old grandfathers, mid 40s, late 40 grandfathers is very normal.
Yeah.
Heart-stopping moments on what can be a busy road in Brevard County, Florida. Watch this man spot the two toddlers and run into action, stopping traffic with one arm, scooping up the kids with the other. No one was hurt. Need to say that right away. John Brittingham is the hero. He then went looking for the parents, finding an open backyard gate and a stunned family who did not even know their toddlers were missing yet. Brittingham told ABC News he saw the girls while driving southbound on A1A. You know, that's that road that runs all along the beach, so it can get really busy, pulled over and ran to their rescue.
I was terrified. If anything would have happened to him, my rest of my life would have been ruined. So I immediately pulled over there and I ran out of the car, and one of them was already to the middle of the road, and I grabbed that one first, and then the second.
What is that company, Drone Geox, which is actually precipitous timing because we're about to talk about American drones. What is Drone Geox?
I believe it's a drone
Professional
surveillance
UAV service. Yeah. Interesting. Well, we're about to talk about the drone company in just a second.
Second one I just picked up, she was ready, and I got him off the road. Took like maybe 6 seconds.
Heart-stopping moment.
There you go. 39 and have a 1-year-old grandson. Dude, cracking the 30s while being a granddad, dude. That's wild. I will not be in my 30s and be a grandfather unless something has gone insanely wrong.
Yeah, my neighbor is 36 and he's got 3 grandkids, I think.
Nice. All right. Well, let's see here. Now, similar vein, also protecting children, but in a more aggressive route. Okay. So you have one that is, these kids get out. Kids do weird things sometimes, right? So like I have a 5-year-old. The 5-year-old can get out of the house if he wants to, right? I mean, like he can undo locks. We have child locks on all the doors, of course, but he can figure it out. He can open up a window. He can get out of here, right? So him and his sister, Sarah's 3, so she would follow him around anywhere. Something like this could happen, which is why you have to be very, very attentive to your children. Have guardrails set up. If you have a fence system or a dog or something like that can help. But yeah, I mean, I'm not completely faulting the parents here because things do happen. But if you live next to a busy intersection, that's why I live in the middle of nowhere with no intersections or, people or anything like that. But still, like,
And the kids probably seen the parents walk out there and walk across the beach with them, like early in the morning or later in the evening. That there's less traffic usually, but there's a couple times a day where that road gets extremely busy, and they probably went out and wanted to go play in the sand like they would any other day. And
well, especially if they've walked it with their parents many times before, and they're like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go do it by myself."
Yeah. Yep.
After 9/11 happened, my dad lost his company because you had a transportation company, so everything stopped. So we moved for a little while into an apartment complex. We went from a house to a complex. I was 6 years old, so I didn't care. I was like, "This is amazing." But no, we would just wander everywhere, just in the middle of like Puyallup in Washington, right? So this is like now it's a horrifying area. The idea of letting your kids wander around some of these places is just an instant non-starter. But back then, yeah, you would just wander, at like 6 years old with your brothers and sisters. Yeah. Shot callers work as well. Absolutely. But the opposite side of that, though, is still protecting children, still mega based, okay? But instead of, picking them up and escorting them back to their family, in this one here, you're hunting a pedo, right? So it's still based, still protecting children, but just not quite the same thing.
Well, this is a good transition too, because had it not been a wonderful grandfather who drove past with those other children, this could have went, well, basically what we're about to see here.
Right. So, sir, you don't need to keep following the pedo, hero. If a cop don't pull him over, it ain't gonna be effing pretty. Which is a way to make the police actually do their job. It's like, if you don't do something, I will.
591.
All right.
591, where's the location of your emergency?
Yes, ma'am. There's a child pedophile with 2 kids in his truck. One's a runaway.
Where are you at, sir?
He's coming down US 1. His name's Darnell.
A caller who knew Harrison and knew he is a registered sex offender just happened to see him on the road. He dialed 911 after spotting him with what looked like 2 underage boys in.
It's always the people you expect the most. There's just that look. There's just that type, all right?
2 underage boys in the car.
Do you know this person?
He's our neighborhood child pedophile, and there's 2 missing kids that run away from.
I do long for the days where there's no such thing as the neighborhood child pedophile. There's no, oh, that's Tom. Don't go around Tom. You know, I feel like there's a society that we could build that would not allow for these sorts of issues.
Out there, and he's got 2 teenage boys in the back of his truck.
The caller followed the truck down US 1.
You don't have to continue following.
Oh, no, I'm following until I see a cop pull his over, because he's got 2 kids in his car. Because if a cop don't pull him over, I'm going to pull him over, and it ain't going to be pretty.
Deputies ultimately found the truck and after a bit of a struggle, had Harrison in handcuffs.
Who got my truck? Who got my truck?
All right, I appreciate it. Law enforcement, stop
Yes.
the vehicle.
Yeah, they got him. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Wait, actually, I just noticed this is 2 female police officers and 1 male officer. Because unless that male's wearing red nail polish, it's 2 female officers and a male officer. You couldn't even send in the good ones. Which one tackled
The
him?
truck and after a bit of a struggle, had Harrison in handcuffs.
Okay. I don't know if he tripped or got tasered. What's up?
This is Flagler, and they do a lot of traffic enforcement because of the intersections and the major interstates right there. So they do have a lot of female officers who are highway patrol.
Mm-hmm. Right. But yeah, good on him for following this guy down, for doing what needs to be done. You don't just let children get taken advantage by a pedo. You know, put yourself in that situation. And he was still conversing with authorities, right? Because we've seen this where the gentleman who's running for sheriff in, I forget the name of the county, right? But he took it into his own hands. He ran down the pedo that had his daughter in the car, right? And then altercated with him and then killed him. Now he's currently under investigation for murder because there's all sorts of corruption allegations in that specific county, but it's still the right thing to do, right? Whether or not there's bad outcomes for you personally, it would be much worse for you and your eternal soul if you did nothing and you allowed those people to continue to be abused. So,
yeah, 100%. Good on him.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think it was the tase. But now, well, where did I put this? Where did I put it? There is. Shoot, I know I have another funny one. Let me find it real fast. But there's another similar story of, you know, maybe not a confirmed pedo, but certainly leaning in that direction. Here we go. And just absolutely getting taken care of as deserved. So a little bit of a setup here. Police officers just arrested a liberal furry blocking traffic in Minneapolis. Unemployed
Oxide.
activities. This is Oxide. This could be Hassan. This could be Hassan as well, right? We're not entirely sure, but he's here dancing in the road, with his phone set up for TikTok. Was it really worth it? Was it really worth it? I mean, this should also, there's a little bit of white pill here, a little bit of laughter before we get going. of course, the guy is screaming that he's a fascist for arresting the furry doing a TikTok edit on Main Street. All right, whatever, bro. Yeah, kids, don't you know that heckin' fascism is when you don't allow furries to block the intersection? Like, that's fascism. Listen, okay, if you just set up your TikTok live stream in the middle of First Avenue and the police arrest you, that's literally heckin' fascism.
I just want to know, do they call animal control? Does he go to the jail or to the pound?
That's a good one.
How does this
That's
work?
a good one. I'm imagining he actually goes to jail and then goes to Pound Town, which is a separate instance, a sort of interzone inside of the jail that's referred to as the Pound Town, and then he goes to that in there, and he will have actually probably too much fun. If we're being honest, probably too much fun in jail. The sad thing is, when he got manhandled and thrown to the ground and had 3 guys on top of him, he probably liked it. Maybe this was just a setup. Maybe he's like, I've been having trouble, I want to go back to jail. I want to be surrounded by men, I've got it. I can score social credit points on TikTok Live and fulfill some of my darker desires. Okay, so I'm gonna set up a interaction or an intercourse with Ice here.
Did he scratch?
Did he scratch?
Yeah, did he scratch or maybe bite one of the officers? I feel like a rabies test might be in order.
Yeah.
You know how those are performed.
More likely an AIDS test, if we're being honest. He probably checked that for AIDS. That's what I would do in that situation.
The AIDS test can be done after the rabies test. That's the more important one.
Now, a little bit of a silly Billy. Now, we're going to come back. This is going to circle back to the very end of the stream where we talk about politicians putting down dogs. Okay, you might know this story, Richard, but at the very end of the stream, keep this in mind that the people that these retards are fighting for are actually putting down dogs and doing horrible, despicable things. Okay, so just keep that in mind, the sort of dichotomy of the left here, or whatever you want to call them. Liberal, libertarian, left, progressive. I don't know. The words are getting confusing at this point in time.
Did you see there is one benefit out of all of this, all of the deportations and stuff that ICE are doing? Even though they're not large numbers, apparently it's going to be significant enough to where Minnesota may lose a congressional seat.
I feel like if you lose a congressional seat because we deported illegals,
there's some bigger issues.
Probably shouldn't have had that seat to begin with. John doesn't know how they do rabies tests. I don't.
They scoop out the brain pan, basically.
That better not have been Tom. Oh yeah, they have to kill them to do a rabies test. That's right. I remember that because that was the whole peanut thing. I remember.
Rest in peace, homie.
Yeah. I am speaking of Beagle C's BCG, so you already know where we're going. All right, but now this isn't sad. This isn't problematic. This is just kind of funny, right? Incompetence at our tax dollar expense. It's not mean. It's not terrible, but this is just what happens when you forget to tie down your helicopter.
Yo!
Yo, but yeah, it's not every day that you just drop a Black Hawk. Little oopsie.
Phrasing.
Yeah, don't worry about it, Richard. Jeez. Israeli Sikorsky UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter appears to have a sling load cable failure during a recovery lift operation in the West Bank and falls into a hillside. Sling load accordingly. I wonder if the comments on this. Fire the camera guy. True. Watching more of our tax dollars bite the dust. Hollywood camera skill. Okay, that's funny. Yeah, no, but it's just maybe the people over here, your conscript army, is not quite intelligent enough to figure out how to strap down a Black Hawk entirely well. Yeah, America, don't worry. We've already sent $100 million after this video. True. Now they need help. They don't need any help crashing. All right. Yeah, just man, could you imagine? Like, obviously they don't carry people in those, but that would be so terrifying.
So
as the pilot, you're like, why are we going up? Why do it feel so much lighter? What just happened?
Black Hawk Down 2.0?
Yeah. 6 million. That sounds high. I feel like they go for a lot less on the used market, especially since it was a recovery operation. I'm thinking like 250, 260, maybe 270 tops.
I mean, just
actually, dude,
one.
Do you remember Mercenaries 1? Okay, it was like a Xbox original game from Xbox, the Xbox. Okay, and you had the tow winch on some of the bigger helicopters, and you could pick up vehicles and drop them at will. That's just what he's doing here, you know. I think there was actually a mission in that in the Russian campaign, or the mob mafia campaign part, where you had to use a helicopter to steal a helicopter and drop it back off at the Russian base. Pretty sure that was part of it. Maybe that's just what's going on here. No, it was not PS2. I definitely played it on the original Xbox, Mercenaries 1. Mercenaries 1 was the game that I played a lot. Yeah. Okay. Now, speaking of drones, actually, it's funny that the nice gentleman that we watched earlier works for a drone company, or at least supports Drone Geox. But this is from CNN just a few hours ago. This is the new unveiling, like 5 years behind, but we'll see how it goes. This is the U.S. unveiling its new AI drone swarm, built to annihilate targets. So we'll get to see American capabilities here, okay? We're tired of seeing China's demonstrations, even when they go up in flames, which is quite funny. Obviously, Russia and Ukraine are doing all of our test lobby functions. It's basically a beta server over there for all of our future weapons.
Right. It's such a technological leap that, I mean, it's like go from the Wright brothers to space in 60 years.
Copy. Drone 1 set. We'll drone clear.
I like how, January 8th, 2026 is the first time that, well, obviously not the first. I'm sure this stuff has been in development for quite some time, but that we're at least making it more public when drone warfare has been the norm since 2020. When did Ukraine kick off? 2021? 2020?
2013.
Well, originally, right. But drone war itself wasn't really until the 2.0.
It kicked in hard at 2022.
Yeah, 2022. So yeah, February 24th was the invasion date. Yeah, so roughly 4 years behind.
4 drones are going to fly out about 4 kilometers. They're going to engage a 3-tank convoy. So
let's get the launch of the sun.
So we were setting up the EFP pack and C4, making sure all the pre-flights were correct.
Good. This technology is phenomenal. The leader drone will identify.
Now, what's cool about this is what they're using in Ukraine for the most part is either the flyby wire drones, right? Because of the electromagnetic interference. So you'll see like the fields after a bunch of drone warfare, and it looks like spider webs everywhere because they have those fiber optic cables everywhere. These, if they're not fiber optic, they can still be jammed. But the tech is kind of cool if it allows them to autonomously identify and engage targets without any user input, right? So maybe one actual real human is monitoring a bunch of different drones, but he's not necessarily actively controlling any of them, right? So rather than having one guy controlling one drone, you send out a drone swarm, and you can issue commands like generally to different swarms and monitor them and control them that way, but you're not like individually stuck with just one drone.
What needs to be hit, and then the 3 follower drones will then go in and attack.
3, 2, 1, pull.
with the 3-to-1 concept. There's a leader drone as the brain, and then it's got its 3 followers that you can use as your munitions to send.
Well, that's what I want to see. Is I want to see them launch a swarm at like moving vehicles and watch them independently, autonomously, like lock on and engage the different vehicles in an efficient manner, right? So like you could just send a drone swarm at a convoy and it would do its thing almost on its own. I mean, kind of cool, right? But I mean, that's kind of where the tech would logically be going, right? It's going to be larger swarms, more autonomous, more intelligent, can do more stuff on its own with less human interaction or intervention. So you can kind of reduce your reliance on manpower. However, all of that right now, I think is kind of stupid, or not stupid, because of course the tech is fine. The tech is cool. And that's just where the man-made horrors are moving in the future. But I do think that it's a little bit wasteful, as I think volume is probably more important, right? So if the US has a stockpile of like 100,000 autonomous AI drones that are like really intelligent and capable versus like Russia having 10 million or China having 100 million of them, I think just the volume at some point is going to be more important. Just the massive targets you need to engage and take out. All right. Well, we're 30 minutes into the show, so hopefully we don't get zonked from YouTube here. But we're going to go ahead and move into some of the silly gun news, the silly topics that everyone loves to talk about as we're moving into SHOT Show here. First up, you knew that this was a logical conclusion of $0 tax stamps on suppressors and SBRs. Man successfully registers potato as a silencer. This was a joke going on for a long time, right? That somebody is just going to be out there SBRing or silencering his potatoes, and it has officially happened. That is a registered legal silencer there, and I think it has. I'm not quite sure how it works, because I think the piece of metal bears the engraving that you legally have to put on it, right? So this is according to the NFA, according to American laws, which, you know, don't make sense. But here is a P80 3D printed potato suppressor. And yeah, it is also jamming the NFA registry with junk data for sure, because it's free now. So why wouldn't you? So the eForm system not quite holding up is to be expected. Anytime you have government infrastructure and people are able to take care of it, they certainly will. Let me see. I wonder if this is going to tell us. Yeah, this is it right here. I will not manufacture, purchase, otherwise acquire any parts material I have until I have an approved Form 1 for a subscription. That was also the thing for a while. People were really worried about if you register or attempt to register a Form 1 device and you're supposed to send them pictures of everything, well, then you would have SBR or silencer precursor parts, which you're not allowed to have until you have the approval. So he just sends them generic stock images of what he's doing. It's kind of funny. Hey, PNW Minuteman, hope you're doing well. White Monster suppressors coming next. I am quite sure. Model, potato, overall length 5. Yeah. Look at that. That's so silly. I wonder, does this article say the jump in suppressor transfers? Yeah, here we go. So the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms informed NSSF on Thursday, January 1st alone that a unprecedented surge in e-form submissions were being processed. The National Shooting Sports Foundations, the gun industry's trade group, said last week that the total was approximately 150,000 e-forms. For an eye-popping comparison, last year, ahead of the $200 to $0 tax change, typical daily volume on e-forms for suppressors, SBRs, and SBSs would hover close to the 2,500 mark. So 2,500 suppressors, SBRs per day, up to 150,000 in the first day. 150,000. So, I mean, even if that tapers off, let's just imagine a doubling or a tripling of last year's numbers. And at some point, it's probably going to average probably about 10,000, 5,000 to 10,000 per day. So we're going to see SBR ownership, silencer ownership, double, quintuple over the next few years, almost undoubtedly. And we're going to get to some real suppressors that are incredibly cheap coming up soon. So I think that it's just going to be one of those areas where if in future it ever gets fully removed from the NFA, we'll have a better argument because these devices will be in common use. What percentage is that? It's 6,000, 60,000, 6 million, something like that. Because I think it's 60 times, it's 60x'd. So 66,000% increase.
Oh,
over
6
last
million
year.
seems really kind of high. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully we get them fully removed, but either way, you're going to see a lot more suppressors and suppressor companies coming up. And yeah, as Savvy McStabwood says, imagine how many it would be if they weren't illegal in many states. Well, it's not that they're illegal in many states. It's only like a dozen or so, maybe not even a dozen. But the problem is those states are very high population centers, right? So California itself, if it was allowed to have suppressors, would probably match or equal that number because there are a lot of good people trapped there. You know, it's a big place controlled by the population centers, and it kind of sucks for everybody else. But that is potatoes are back on the menu. All right, we had the Irish potato famine, you know, caused by the British. And now we're going to have the American potato famine caused by suppressor degenerates suppressing all of our potatoes. First, they came for the Mexicans. Then they came for the potatoes. And I said, wait, potatoes taste good. Let's save those. The other ones, you don't need those. We don't need those. All right, I would show you the videos for these, but they will absolutely get us yeeted from the YouTube live. But the scars are back. All right, so the FN, they reintroduced the brand new. They didn't even call it anything else. They're just still called the SCAR 16S, 17, 20S, or whatever the numbers and letters are, But yeah, so we have the 17S is back, the 20S is back, the 16S. They're all quote unquote coming soon. Now, I'm not showing you the price on them. We'll get into some of the updates and upgrades, which there are some upgrades. Okay, there are some niceties, some cool things that they did that the aftermarket did a decade ago. But Richard, I'm going to make you guess. All right, what is the MSRP for the 20S, which is the DMR variant in 308 or 6.5 Creedmoor?
Oh, let's see. They were already pushing for. Let's say I'm going to say 4,800.
Close. This one's 45. 45. Okay. The SCAR 17. 4,000. You're going too slow. SCAR 16, 3,700. So they didn't adjust the price at all. They did adjust some features. So, think street price for a 16 is going to be like 3 to 3.5, probably 3.5 for a 17, and then probably still north of 3.5, maybe 4K for a 20 or 20S. Sorry. So the price did not change. Now, they did make some interesting changes, which we'll go ahead and we'll go over them now. Actually, we'll use the 17 as an example. So they kept the classic UGG boot, which is like, all right, but they gave us some cutie mounts on the stock. It's like, okay, 20 years of improvement. and we have basically the exact same stock. All right, fair enough. They do come with updated iron sights because the upper receiver is much longer now, right? So this is, 2026. It's nice to have a longer receiver, a longer rail, or a better rail on the bottom as well. We have new QD cups in the rail itself and in the upper receiver. So we have new updated iron sights because, of course, the front sight block, gas block is no longer possible. On the lower receiver, we now have truly fully ambidextrous controls. So you can see that we do have a bolt catch, bolt release on the right side. So for right-handed shooters, for real people, all the real people out in the chat, that is a nice benefit. Okay, that's cool. Again, we're modernizing this platform a little bit. We still don't have an AR-15 fire control unit. We do have AR-15 grips, which is nice, but we do not have AR-15 fire control units or AR-10 fire control units. And we also still have FN magazines. Now, the FN magazines are expensive, but they are good. Like, I like the FN magazines. The only problem is that they are, again, expensive. Now, the upper receiver, as I mentioned, has been lengthened, which is cool. Still lots of screws, but it's been lengthened, which I guess is nice. The lower, or the handguard section, is now fully M-LOK. So I think you have 5 slots of M-LOK. That's, nice. You have more real estate. The most important change to me, however, though, is internally, they copy and pasted I forget, was it Crown Arms that made the 2-piece buffered bolt carrier group? But, James Reeves had a video on the FN SCAR, and man, I really wish he would be a little bit more pointed in his questions. He referred to the SCAR breaking optics as an urban legend, which is just simply not, right? Very cringe. It's a very real thing that FN has just refused to fix over the last 20 years. I think 18 years, basically, is that the SCAR has a horrible recoil impulse and it just doesn't need to be the way it is. So what they did is they now have a 2-piece internal buffered bolt carrier group that has a hydraulic buffer that they worked with Kinshot on. So if you like those Kinshot hydraulic buffers, the bolt carrier itself has a built-in hydraulic buffer that smooths out the bottom of the recoil impulse. So when it bottoms out, it has an additional recoil buffer in the bolt carrier itself that slows it down, makes it a lot smoother. In the shooting footage that I've seen, it does look pretty good. It looks very smooth in terms of its recoil impulse, which is usually what happens when you have a hydraulic buffer in there. So they finally did that. They also skeletonized it and they cut out a ton of weight. They cut out so much weight from the bolt carrier group. Now, unfortunately, they added it all back in the rail. So the 17S gained about 6 ounces overall for the 308. So it used to be like right at 8 pounds, and now it's like at 8.5 or something like that. So it has gained a little bit of weight. Another improvement that I should mention is that the trigger, the standard SCAR trigger, is horrible. It's like a mil-spec minus trigger. It's worse than a mil-spec trigger, right? So now it is a improved single action trigger. And they also, on the 20S, they still have their nice 2-stage triggers, but it's something that's nice. Okay. So it now has a nice single stage trigger, which you would expect again on a $4,000 gun, because again, this does MSRP for $4,000. Now, one improvement, very careful with this. All right, guys, you have this adjustable gas block up front. So people were like, oh, well, now we can suppress it without voiding our warranty. And they're being a little sneaky with that. Okay, they're being little sneaky boys when it comes to this, because if you read closely, it says suppressor compatible with low back pressure forward venting suppressors such as the FNQD762. So yes, it's suppressor compatible, ... with low back pressure cans like the one that we just brought to market, which we'll take a look at in just a second. So enhanced bolt carrier group, which some things are nice, right? So the enhanced bolt carrier group is backwards compatible with the old SCARs. Now you're never going to be able to buy it separately, but that's kind of indicative of how little they changed. It's not that much. It's like longer rail. Okay. Internal buffer, it's like, well, yeah, but you could already buy that for the Scar 17 because, again, I think it's Crown Arms or somebody makes the aftermarket version of that. You get a better trigger, like, all right, and it's heavier now.
Yeah, this
Okay.
just sounds like they're gonna force. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
As I say, it sounds like they're gonna force you to buy their can or void the warranty.
Yeah. Since 2008, the iconic Scar has been an industry standard in gas-operated semi-auto modular rifles for the most demanding shooters, and now it's even better with more than 25 innovative upgrades for the U.S. commercial market. Upgrades are worth more than $1,000 with no price increase to consumers. I will say, okay, giving them props, I still would not buy one. I still think it's overpriced. However, this is a better rifle than the original Scar, okay? But again, it's like, it's 20 years, and this is the best you could do. 20 years. Suppressor compatible, again, caveated with low back pressure forward venting suppressors, such as Arcan, which I'll show you in just a second. Suppressors compatible, tested to 16,000 rounds. Next generation Scar 17S Heavy Carbon offers reduced felt recoil and faster follow-up shots thanks to a hydraulically buffered two-piece bolt carrier, along with a extended receiver and forearm, and more adaptability than ever. The best part is it retains the legendary Scar look and performance. So comes with a bunch of stuff, but we'll go ahead and let me make sure that I'm not missing anything. Oh yeah. So we have this new gas block, right? You like gas blocks? You guys like tuning for different ammo and suppressors, especially on 308s? You like tuning your recoil impulse? Wrong. 2-position adjustable gas regulator. On the Scar 17, on the Scar Legacy, I should call them. You can buy, I think I had the Discarder, which is a 12-position gas block. You have the Scarburator, which I think is a 4-position gas block. And Scar, FN, after 20 years, they're like, you know what? 2 positions, suppressed and unsuppressed. No tuning ability. Oh, and with on suppressed, it only works with flow-through cans. Why? Why? All right. Now, they did unveil like lamb. They did unveil their new 3D printed Inconel can that is specifically designed to work with the Scar, perfected with the Scar 17S and 20S rifles. Reduced recoil and gas blowback, tested at 10,000 rounds, full auto certified, reliable feed and extraction with factory ammunition, 3D printed from Inconel, super alloy with stainless steel, blast chamber, and high temperature Cerakote. So it's obviously a reduced back pressure, flow through can, bunch of different openings on the front end. Very heavy, very heavy. Now, it was kind of designed to go, I guess, with the Surge program. So full auto certified, exceeding the USSOCOM Surge requirements, tested with a 13-inch barrel, less than a 1 MOA point of impact shift. Very, very normal thing. So it has the direct thread or FN quick mount. Now, Richard, can you guess the ounces?
Ooh, let's see, 28.
Well, 28 would be way too high. Fortunately, it's not that heavy. Damn, but it is 22 ounces. So
yeah, it does.
It is almost 1.5 pounds on the end of your gun, not including the muzzle device. So if you add the muzzle device in there, it's probably 1.5 pounds on the end of your gun. So yeah, no, not 14. It's like 22. I think it's 21.9. I look up, it's also 1,400. 1,400, guys. $1,400. So if you want a Scar 17 deployment package, it's going to be about 10 pounds and it's going to be around minimum $5,000, if not $6,000, if they put in other stuff and do a deployment package for it. So also made by B&T, that I don't know. I don't know if FN's doing it in-house or if just everybody's using B&T's excess manufacturing, but yeah, are you guys excited? I mean, man, a $3,500 5.56 rifle with like 2 improvements. It is nice that it's full ambi. Like, I like that. I would like at least 2 more gas positions. In the footage, which I unfortunately can't show you, these are very whippy, just with the very violent short stroke recoil impulse. It's a very whippy barrel and system. So I don't, as far as improvements go, it's something, but man, it's not really impressive in any way, shape, or form, is it? And I'm sure for people who love the Scar, they'll love this for the few of you that are out there. But if you really want an iconic Scar, like I feel like you want the original Scar, right? That's the iconic one. That's the one that cool people used. Not very many of them, but some of them used. Not this one. I don't know if this has any contracts, if it's even going to go after any contracts. All right. Well, speaking of some more oddities, before we get to Palmetto State Armory here in just a second, Holo-san is obviously, or Hara-san, as you guys love to say, is releasing even more wacky products. You know, I feel like they should just fix some of the products that they have out right now, or that they've been teasing for like 2 or 3 years, instead of unveiling all of this stuff. This is a weird one. Okay, so this is for my IR nerd strange boys out there for a passive plus setup. Maybe Brass will really like this because it is kind of a passive plus setup with a variable beam. So this is the Iris Arc. Iris Arc delivers high output infrared illumination with precise on the fly beam control for night vision users who demand adaptability without complexity. From tight long range spot to wide close range flood, Iris Arc gives you clean, consistent IR light exactly where you need it. V-cell, which is nice, high power output, which is good. 3 degrees, which is very tight. 40 degrees, pretty wide, not bad. I don't have any problems with that. So on and so forth. Now, because this is only IR, if you wanted to pair this with a IR laser pointer and some sort of dual lead switch, you probably could do that. And you have, I guess, a poor man's, not even a poor man's, because it would just be worse than the Iris 3. It would just be worse at that point for the most part, unless this has a really wide beam pattern, which the Iris doesn't. But what is funny about this, Richard, is if you haven't used it, maybe it's more difficult for you to tell. But what's the problem with the switch position on here? Or not the switch, the slider position?
You can't reach it. It's way too far forward and on the opposite side of where you need to be.
Yeah, it's very far away from you. So the point of having like on a lazy, I don't have one with me, but it's on a gun, on the Mark 1 in the bag behind me. But the point of having a slider on the unit itself is that you can just really quickly go from close to far without having to break your grip, right? So everything is done within your support hand. Now you could still put this on the, your support hand side, but you have to basically, because it's an IR device, it's basically a flashlight, right? That just does IR light. You need to put your hand like out next to the muzzle, your suppressor, and fiddle with it up there, and then bring your hand back. So it's very unergonomic in that way. If they were going to do this, they should have made it Picatinny mounted and made it like the Inforce. Is that the one, the guys that do the top rail mounts lights, right? And just do that, right? Because if it's going to be a standalone light, IR light without a laser, you might as well just make it pick mounted, put it on top so you can actually adjust it on the fly. Kino Commando says, ask Brassfax about the use case for this. Like, he might like it because there is a passive plus use case where you have like a vampire or dual white light IR. Like, there's other setups that are out there that you can do basically a passive plus where you're always going to be using whatever red dot you have, no matter what. But if you need more light, you just have a IR illuminator, something like this, which can work because it's smaller, it's lighter, it's more compact, usually than a full IR laser combo. Now, with more modern offerings like the Iris, which is only like 9 ounces, or the even the SMS Trinity, which is also 8-9 ounces, something in that range, it really defeats the purpose of passive plus only, unless they're trying to go just minimal weight, minimal complexity. But it's interesting. I feel like they just could have designed it a little bit better. Use case: I have too many fingers and dislike direct sunlight. True. Well, yes, that is a pressure pad, correct, but that's not a slider for adjusting the beam divergence, right? Which is the point of being able to adjust beam divergence on the fly, like on an Iris or on a Maul or on a Trinity or on a lot of these devices, is you can adjust the beam divergence, right, on the unit itself without breaking your grip. With this, if I wanted to adjust the beam divergence from wide to point, I would have to reach my hand over top of the gun next to the muzzle and then push the slider to the desired variant and then return my support hand to the gun, right? Not particularly ergonomic. Jake's Latina is a massive plus. Yeah, Z-Bolt Blazer is another one that I've seen people use for sure. But I mean, realistically, you just kind of want like a general purpose IR light. Not the beam divergence is nice, but it's not ergonomic, so it kind of ruins the idea here. But moving on with the Holosun lineup, because they did it again, announce just about everything. We have the EPS Core, full-size slim slide fitment. EPS Core brings the viewing performance of a full-size EPS lens at a smaller size to the compact RMS-C footprint optic. You get bigger, cleaner side picture in a slim, carry-friendly form factor without sacrificing the protection and reliability of an enclosed design. Now, this is weird to me because we looked at last week or Wednesday the Ames Micro, which is also RMS-C. So why do we have both of these for the exact same? Not to mention they already have other RMS-C style optics. So this to me feels like they're crowding their own optics.
I don't understand this one either.
Because I feel like the EPS carry that they already have is like, okay, that's a good option. That's good. Now we're getting a simpler version of it. Okay, that's fine. A slimmer version or whatever this is going to be. But you already have also the new Ames Micro. But it's so many options that I feel like it's just going to parasitically drain its own lineup. Two configurations, multi-reticle, of course, and the Core 3, clean, simplified, without solar. Yeah, so you'll have a cheaper version of it as well. Full-size lens, compact footprint. I mean, the lens looks small, guys. Let's be real.
Very.
Automatic light sensing. Everybody's going to automatic light sensors.
I hate that.
Enhanced optical systems. They are touting new glass and all of the stuff. Proven fit, RMS-C. Yeah. Full-size performance, built for slim pistols. Yeah, again, they already have a regular EPS that does this, so they're just making it a little slimmer. Fair enough. Now, something that... well, they'll have different models of it, so I don't know if the Core... Because they have the Core 3? Where did they say? The Core 3... Or Sano 3 Core... Okay, yeah, so the Core 3 is going to be just the 3 MOE dot. That's going to be cheaper. Or the Core MRS, which is going to have the multi-reticle system and the solar failsafe. That's going to be more expensive. So... Again, it's like it already fits in their own lineup, so I don't know why that would be particularly impressive one way or the other. All right, but now something that might be a little bit more interesting, at least to nerds like me, is you have the new 407 comp, which the 507 comp is already basically the best pistol dot on the market for nerdy competition shooters like myself. However, the 407 comp is just that, but cheaper. So it comes in only 6 MOA dot in red, gold, or green, which is kind of neat. And it's going to be even cheaper. Now, the standard 507 comp is like 355 map, I want to say. 360 map, something like that. So if the 407 comp is sitting at around 299 or less, like that's kind of a neat little option, I guess. It's not that exciting. Again, it's like it's the same thing that you already like, but a little bit cheaper. And allegedly, they are improving the glass quality across all of their optics, which is cool. Because the only thing that the 507 comp is missing is that it has no night vision performance at all. It technically has 2 night vision settings, but they do not work. They are far too bright. It is completely unusable.
Well,
so again, it's like
with a 6 MOA dot, the night vision, I mean, it would have to be very, very, very low.
Well, 6 MOA dots like aren't that big. It is just about brightness setting because like funnily enough, the EPS has really good night vision performance, and you can get those in 6 MOA dots that look really good at night. Because I had a EPS carry for a long time, and that looked really good under nods. And I think that was just the standard 6 MOA dot. Yeah. Let me see here. Now, another option in the lineup again. Now we're updating the bottom of the barrel series. So this is replacing the round hoods on the old 400 and 500 series. This is the 407C X3. Okay, so they used to be X2s, so now we're on to the X3, so they're just updating their entire lineup basically. Clearer glass, smarter light control, a practical price, and performance. The next evolution of the trusted 407C platform delivers cleaner optics, intelligent brightness adjustment, and the same carry-ready durability shooters depend on for duty, defense, and range use. The features you need, the price you want. Best in-class enhanced optical system, cleaner glass engineered to reduce aberration and parallax for a sharper sight picture and faster visual confirmation when it counts. And again, they are adding in all of their auto light sensing capabilities because that's where the market is going for one reason or another. You know, it's like, okay, it's another option in the lineup, and I guess it's nice. It'll probably come in cheaper options as well, 70-75. 407C X2s will still be available through 2026 at a new lower price. Well, so they're going to be blowing out their old 407C lineup if you want another one. All right. And then the 507, which is going to be the multi-reticle system with the solar fail-safe option. So it's kind of like the same thing, but different. So the 507 X3, again, better brightness, automatic light sensing adjustment, multi-reticle system, smart power management, solar fail-safe, shake awake, memory mode, lockout mode, keep your optic ready when you are, and protected from accidental changes. 70-75, blah, 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 RMR, all of the normal things. Yes, like last year, I think I had a picture with me and Josh at the Holosun booth talking about all of their new optics and accessories. And I think it was like 12 or 13 options last year that we went over in that video at SHOT. This year, it's going to be at least the same, 12, 13, 14, if not more, if not a little more. Yeah, they did change the layout of the optic. It's no longer round on top. It's now flat with the gay solar panel, which I dislike. So I prefer the rounded top. And I mean, the old 407s and 507s, the bodies were already very durable. It was really just the electronics that would crap out on them every now and again. Yeah. All right. Well, Richard, are you ready to get fucked? You ready to get fucked up?
Always.
We're going to talk about this abomination that is the VUC. What the fuck? That's going to be the thing for like the next 2 days for sure. People just saying that over and over again. But before we get to the VUC, dude, it is hideous. It is horrifyingly bad. We're going to get to you guys first, all right? Because you guys have already been insanely generous. Thank you, gentlemen, for hanging out. We're going to get to the VUCing right away. Bardic Psycho, very happy to get VUC'd today. Hope you're having a wonderful night today. Thank you, Sabardic. Amorite Boy, Armorite Boy. Fine, I'm going to say it right. You know, it is 2026. I'll pronounce your name right for how much money you've given me. Armorite Boy for 2 says Leighton gayer than a blue-haired Karen. Whatever, man. I'm going to go back to mispronouncing your name now. Lightsport for 2 says, I'm going to start betting on Polybet for when John is late. You wouldn't make any money because it'd be like 99% for yes. So you wouldn't make any money on it.
No,
you
they're
could bet
gonna
$1 million.
time.
You get $1 million and get like nothing back on it.
They're going to start betting on the time specifically.
No,
when.
yeah, that's how it would be. It would be like +5 is like 60%.
Yeah, they're going to bet
+10 is like 20% for sure.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna get in on that action because I can affect it.
Well, you're gonna short the market is what you're gonna do. We're gonna get it all together, and somebody's gonna slip me $1,000 to be like 20 minutes early, which there's only gonna be one bet on, right?
And it's gonna be me.
Lightsport for 5 says Astartes, my beloved. Thanks, Focus. I'll start a new 30K/40K army. This was all the convincing I needed. Yeah. You know, for all the nerdy things one could do, playing with little dolls, they're called dolls, right? And painting them, like painting their nails. I think it's a good use of your time. Sounds really gay when you say it that way. Oh, thank you there. Thank you, Sabardic Noticer. Central Sands Defense for 5 says, Amorite Boy and I may have allegedly teamed up for some YouTube anti-strike team strike convincing. Allegedly. Well, thank you very much, because YouTube needs some convincing when it comes to not handing me out strikes, please. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it. Hope you're having a good time. Hopefully you're not still stuck at the conference, man. Hopefully you're at least back home. Jay Lewis for 10 says, I hate the Antichrist. I love ice. I hate the Antichrist. I love ice. I need a congratulatory. You know, I just noticed this. All of my clips are really, they're really angry. You know, I don't have one that says like, good job, you did good things. So I'm just going to give you this one.
You get to hide those piggies. What's wrong with you, Jake? Why are you so scared?
We do have the applause.
That's true. Focus Trip's wife, Anna for 2, says, okay, but what did the fox say? The fox, well, if you've listened to the Oxide tape, you know exactly what the fox says. Thank you, Anna. One Arm Bandit for 2 says, love your channel, man. Just started my own gun channel. Well, listen, the best time to start a gun channel was years ago, but better today than tomorrow. Thank you, One Arm Bandit. Hope you're having a good night, man. Appreciate it. Focus Trip's wife for 5 says, so this is what it feels like when the kids lets go of their balloon. Yeah, when you just drop a little helo and you just get really sad about it, you know? What goes up must come down. Amorite Boy for 2 says, PS2, you say? Ever play the Navy SEAL games? No, I never did. I was not a PlayStation kid. I had an Xbox, a PlayStation, and a Nintendo 64, and that's what I played for the most part. And then eventually we got a 360. When I went to college, I got an Xbox One. So I missed a lot of the PS2 and 3 games, which is kind of tragic. Thank you, Amorite Boy. Deer Hunter drops 10 on the table, says absolutely nothing, but we greatly appreciate it, man. I work for the FBI. I am a federal informant. All right. Thank you, Deer Hunter. Man, this is really good for 5. Says, just got off the True Shot website where they were selling a 9mm for 1 cent a round. Not even kidding. Picked up 3,000 rounds for $45. Someone's getting fired.
What? I don't believe it. They're going to refund the orders.
Well, they're going to refund the orders for sure. There's no way they're selling that. But why would you only spend $45? Like, listen, if somebody was offering me 9mm for a penny, I would have spent $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. Yeah, that's literally my face when you're saying that right now, dude. The amount of money I would have spent on that would be unfathomable. All right. Thank you, man. Zanico for 5 says, just like Jake's, I'm late. True. Those Jakes, dude. Never trusted Jake. Thank you, Zany. Kano Commander for 2 says, 2 position is as long as I'm going to last, big guy. Or this baby girl. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's true. 2 positions is a lot. Okay. That's like 60 seconds, which is, that's pushing. Honestly, that's pushing it. That's just being greedy at that point. Jay Lewis for 5 says, Hyper Optics, MHM, NC Scout. Thank you, Jay Lewis. Shaniqua didn't do nothing. She for 2 says, hey boy, tell Richard Tay needs diapers. Richard, did you leave your baby mama without diapers again? We've talked about this, dude. We've talked about this. Moonman for 5 says, Temu Optics Hour. I'm still waiting on that cheap red dot review. Curious. Yes, curious. Monitoring the situation. Big John once again failed to meet his demands. Thank you, Moonman. Rubicon, Texas for 10 says, are you going to cover the EXPS 3 HD in this stream? Yes. I already have it pulled up. There is so much gun stuff to go over, okay? We got new ammo. We got new silencers. We got new optics. We got Vucked. We've got lots of stuff to talk about, okay? Thank you, Rubicon. Moonman for $20.
Here you go. It's alphabet soup. I made it special.
Richard, the last thing I made you. Thank you for the $20. Also, bus trip, but under it for the Candace clip. Which one? You don't like this one?
You get to hide those piggies.
You don't get to ask those questions.
You don't get to ask those questions. It feels a little fake and gay. Gotta tell you guys, it feels a little fake and gay, and there will be no fakeness and no gayness.
How about all the Candace clips? Dude, for $20, you can get the Candace clips on repeat, okay? Thank you, Moonman. Appreciate it. Man, this is really good. Says, I bought all the ammo they had left. Damn. If true, wild, dude. Wild. Thank you for that. All right, over on Ko-Fi really fast. Ko-Fi supporter, Anonymous Pretend, says, a drop for the emergency fund to ward off the con crud. Thank you. I'll have to catch this on VOD later. Safest of travels. P.S. You don't need to keep citing me as anonymous. I can handle the flack. I just don't want to be timed out when Jake's been kinkier on stream than I have. Well, it's so when you pop up in Tarkay, when you pop up on Ko-Fi, it shows anonymous until I actually click on the actual donation itself. So it just says Ko-Fi supporter. So that's why I say Ko-Fi supporter. But yeah, that's Tarkay. That's our this is actually Tarkay in the video we're currently watching. I'm surprised he got out of jail that fast. DM Louise says, one of the local FFLs is making their own suppressor and will be showing them at SHOT. Bomb City Armory. Swing by and see them if you get a chance. Bomb City Armory. All right, fine. I'll take a look. I'm going to be there all week. Mr. Chinaman for 3 says, oh, hello. You like the Horoshan Optic? Well, you know, we make the window bigger for big, strong America. Eyes, you buy. Make big shavings. Thank you, Mr. Chinaman. Appreciate that. I'll read for $3.
We really do need to get a China music.
Yes, or get the gong like wah. Sabardic Noticer says it's Friday night, boys. I'm with the missus. We'll catch the show tomorrow. Stereotypes are always true. Don't act them out. Well, I have to act them out because they're always true. Lightspore says kill all Dune Coons? Call it dolls again and I'll effing kill you, John. Whoa! All right. I'm sorry. Man like to play with their miniatures. I think that's the correct term. And then Sabardic Noticer became a Ko-Fi caffeine creep. Based. Appreciate that. Minus 10,000 social credit score. Dude, I don't have a lot of social credit score to hang on to, all right? So if there's a shortage, it's going to be real rough for me real fast. All right. Thank you for bearing with us. Are you ready to get fucked? All right. The VUC product update. It is so hideous. So I'm just going to describe it to you guys because, again, I don't want the channel to get taken down. I don't want the stream to get taken down. We'll listen to it for sure. But this is a Jackal. That's what this is. This is a Jackal, a modified Jackal extrusion. Keep in mind that this is a one-off. This is nonsense, okay? It's a modified Jackal extrusion, modified handguard, long stroke piston, and they exposed the gas block on the front end, and they used one of their rock and lock lowers, which is also heavily modified and disgusting. Disgusting, okay, to take rock and lock 5.56 AK mags. And this is done because somebody thought it was a cool idea, but cynically, because they can repackage Jackal tooling, Jackal parts, and just sell you more, right? Because it's different. So it's literally a Jackal. Like, it's a few external changes, but it's literally a Jackal that takes rock and lock mags, and a few people will like it because it has a different silhouette. Like, it has a different silhouette. That's all that they've changed with this. It has a different silhouette. Okay, it's not doing anything special. It's not doing anything unique. It's not good because the Jackal's not good. And spoiler alert, that's what this is, but with rock and lock mag. So because it has a different silhouette, some of you guys are going to buy it, okay? There's a few of you in the chat that are just going to like it. I know you can't fool me, okay? I know you. You guys like prawn music?
This product update is
on the VOOC.
On the VOOC.
Whoa, that was the opposite of what I wanted to do. Jeez.
The VOOC is a long stroke gas piston system that is similar to our Jackal, but it will take 5.56 AK rock and lock magazines. It will be compatible with an AR safety, AR-15 fire control.
Sinestro Rifleman, Russell Fagan in the chat says, specifically asked if this would be Red October legal. I was told no by match officials. I mean, it's a Jackal with rock and lock mags. So I'm curious, what would make it not legal? Because it takes the magazines. So why would this be different than a 5.56 AK? It's long stroke. It takes rock and lock magazines. So I don't
because of the fire control units.
Well, right, but I don't know why it would give you a advantage in a match over a 5.56 AK.
I think that just means that the Red October guys are finally admitting it, that the AR is superior to the AK.
Yeah, it's as much of an AK as the Galil Ace, and that is legal. Well, isn't it something weird like the Galil Ace? Like you can use PMags, or is it only the Rock and Log variants that are allowed at Red October? Because I mean, because I know people call the Galils cheating, right? For the AK only matches, quote unquote AK only matches, right? Oh, actually, give me a second. I realized I was on Wi-Fi this whole time, so my Ethernet must have come unplugged. So I'm going to go plug that in real fast. Give me a second.
Okay. Well, while John fixes his Wi-Fi and his pixels, yeah, I am also curious as to see why that isn't allowed at the Red October match. So, Russell, if you figure out why.
Yeah, and he says the PMag versions are legal. So yeah, this is more AK than a PMag Galil. That's weird.
Control and AR-15 grips. We first showed the VOOC off in 2024 and got some feedback from you guys and brought a new version to SHOT Show 2025. After SHOT Show this past year, we realized some of the changes that we made were not the ones that you guys wanted us to do.
So the original VOOC was more like AK-like, and then it morphed into a Jackal-like, and they're like, oh, well, you guys don't like that. So what we're seeing here is like a hasty prototype machine butcher job, right? Because essentially, again, it's a Jackal upper receiver for the most part, a couple little changes here and there, with a lower that kind of fits, and that's really it. I mean, just the way that I'm looking at it right now in this, it might be hard for you guys to tell, but it looks like the barrel and the gas tube are at different angles.
Well, that doesn't look like it's the same one that he was holding just a few minutes ago in the preview.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it looks different. I don't even know if this is a functional prototype or if this is like literally just a mock-up with somebody pressed a gas block in place or pinned. I don't think it's pressed in place, you know. That would be too AK-like.
Went back to what the core of the 2024 gun was, but we also added a couple changes to this. Now, one of the things that you guys liked from last year was the 4.5 millimeter trunnion on the back so you can attach an AK stock. So we decided to keep that on here. But
that's like a nice touch for AK nerds, right? They can get the stock that they want. Even though, again, it's like, I'm going to put a $400, you know, KPYK stock on my Jackal, on my VOOC. Why? What?
After that, we kept the upper the same as what we showed you guys in 2024.
Well, the upper is not going to change, right? Because the upper is a Jackal. That's what makes it easy, right? Because they can reuse all the machines, all the parts. It's basically the same thing, right? Just cut the receiver down, cut the handguard down, make it an exposed long stroke piston, and there you go, right? So it's we'll mess with the lower. We'll do a couple AK-esque things with the lower, but that's it, I guess. It's okay. Yeah, I know, dude. It's okay. You won't be able to hold it at SHOT Show again, dude. The PSA booth was a nightmare last year. Just so many people running around. Ridiculous.
With a slight improvement to the lower handguard. It still has an AK style rear sight leaf, an AK inspired combo block with adjustment.
But again, it's still the Jackal adjustment knob. It's a slightly different gas block. Slightly different, obviously, because it's exposed, right? So, yeah, it's a little different.
Gas block and an AK-19 style front flash hider. Now let's talk about where we're at with this project. The VOOC is still very much in its design prototyping phase, but we want to hear from you in the comments.
Yeah, so spoiler alert, I wouldn't say never coming out. There is a shot that it actually comes out, right? There's a shot that it's able to come out. But again, with all things PSA, it's like, maybe. Now, you know what's even funnier though, dude? I laughed when I watched this video. This is the PSA X9, and yes, it does.
It is very printed.
It does actually look this bad. Okay, so this is the title of this video is PSA X9 product update SHOT Show 2026. Can you guess what the update is?
The update is that it's here.
No, the update is that there will be an update video at some point in the future. So there's not actually an update in this video. He's literally going to say, hey guys, we're almost ready to have a video with more information about the X9. And when it's ready, we'll let you guys know. It's like, well, what am I here for?
Retarded.
What am I here for? Like, this is
View.
This is your video, a view, I guess. Canceled, discontinued. Dude, I know, dude. This is the only thing that's interesting. This is the only thing that's interesting. So we can't make 9mm anymore. Working on tooling. No, the 3D printer's working fine, dog. Okay, so look, this thing right here that you see, I wish they would get the text off the screen, but this thing right here is like basically what we want, right? Give us 30 round B&T mags. Okay, the mags work, little spendy, but they work, they're good. You got a straight grip, full pick rail on top, little charging handle. It's a 9mm PDW. It is the TP9 that we have at home. However, the TP9 is not very good. So PSA actually has a shot if they can make a reliable blowback 9mm, the shock, the horror in this package, like could actually be a decent buy, could be fun, could actually do the PDW thing that you want it to do. Obviously, I would remove the Strike Industries bit brace and put on something real. A telescoping stock would probably be really neat, right? Would probably be really cool. Okay, but this is what I want. Okay, $9.99 out the door. Okay. Or less, hopefully. Yeah, Charlie, actually, you know what, Charlie? You should download the music, or I'll send it when you have to use it. Like every time you're about to say something, you cut away to this music and like a little montage and do it every like minute and just completely irritate your entire audience in your next video. I think that'd be very funny. Yeah, as Red Right Hand says, modern Mac 11 that don't suck would go hard. I feel like, listen, B&T makes one. It's not very good, but it's also $3,000 or $2,000 or something, right? Surely somebody can make a blowback 9mm like what we're seeing on screen right now. That's just not garbage. Acute. All right. Acute, I'm going to stretch your neck skin over your face and then staple it shut. How does that feel, dude? How does that make you feel? All right.
This update is on the X9. The X9 was first shown at SHOT Show 2025. It is a 9mm PDW that is a delayed blowback system. It uses a 30-round B&T magazine and...
Now, they say delayed blowback, okay? They're not particularly specific on what they mean by delayed blowback. So your guess is as good as mine as what that means. I'm going to be honest with you guys. It doesn't even need to be delayed. Like, what I would do, honestly, is put on a Kinshot hydraulic buffer on the back and call it a day, okay? Right? It'll add like $100 to the price tag. It'll be shootable. It'll be pleasant, okay? That's it. All right? Just like the SCAR, just like FN, delayed by malfunction. True, dude. More like delayed by production, okay? Mentally delayed blowback. Just Shy Guy, that's good. Appreciate it.
Has a swappable side charging handle. Now let's talk about where we're at.
Stop. Go back, dude. This is like not a real gun, obviously. Look how rough this is, though. This is like, I don't know, what is this? Sanded 3D printing? Is that what this is? I'm gonna blow it up for you guys. Is that what this is? Sanded 3D printing? Like, I don't even. Where's the trigger pin? Does this thing actually work? This is not does the trigger even move? Like, this is surely it's just a mock-up at this point. Yeah, yeah, at least it's not AI. Pot metal casting. Yeah. Well, obviously it's a mock-up, but it is funny that keep in mind that this is another one of those PSA products that's been on display for is it just been 1 year? It's just been 1 year. Okay. So just 1 year. But it looks like development has gone backwards. Right? And we haven't moved forwards. We're going backwards.
Now let's talk about where we're at on the X9 project. The X9 has transformed and evolved into a new modern modular system. You will see what this has evolved into in an upcoming video as we get closer to SHOT Show. We're releasing videos.
That's the entire video. And then he just says we're releasing videos and he goes through his outro spiel. Well, here's the information, okay?
Modular system. You will see what this has evolved into in an upcoming video as we get closer to SHOT Show.
My dude, we are 3 days away from everybody being there. So I don't know what days you think you have, or why you thought to put this video out, but yeah. But I mean, listen, okay, I'll give them props. This is basically what I want, okay? If I'm in the market for a PDW, if I want a backpack gun or something like that, off-body carry that has good capability, like this is basically the thing, okay? It's going to take a couple weeks, somebody to develop an FRT for it, and then it's going to be a little grip and rip, and it's going to be really funny, really fun, okay? Yeah, actually, Shadow Force, that's a good idea. They meant SHOT Show 2027. True. So, I mean, show the OG video and see how it changed. Yeah, actually, we should do that. We should look at, I'm going to look up my video, actually, because I think my video on it got decent views. On the Gun.Deals channel. 1 day ago, 10 months ago. That's the same gun, dude. So, yeah, it hasn't up. What update? What are you talking about? What update? It's the same thing. This was this was 10 months ago. They just so nothing has happened. Wait, what? They just grabbed the same prototype from the show floor from 2025, and we're like, here it is again. Here's the update. There will be an update at some point in the future. No, this is 10 months ago. This video is from 10 months ago that I just pulled up. Let me go back though. Did somebody else?
Yeah, so this is
here's GBRS at the SHOT Show floor, which is so funny to me, dude, that GBRS is doing SHOT Show videos. It's almost sad in a way, but here it is on the SHOT Show floor, right?
Forend on it.
Oh, stop it. I don't want to get killed. YouTube, don't kill me. They actually show it. They don't even show it, dude. But no, it's the same thing. Which again, it's like that package is what people want. The guy on the left, I mean. Actually, you know what? Maybe his son wants them to call him. Maybe that's what it is, dude. And dude, he's enhanced. All right, very enhanced. Yeah. So there are the PSA updates, man. And that was exciting. That was really, really exciting, dude. I'm gonna make a video because GBRS. All right, they're on the target list, man. They did it, dude. They made a video so dick sucky shilly that I have to actually make a dedicated response video. We're going back to 2015 levels of response videos. I'm making a response video to GBRS. That's how bad the economy is, okay? They made a video so poor. I'm not going to react to it in a live stream. I'm going to make a dedicated takedown video for them. And yes, it's the Sons of Liberty Gunworks one. Of course it is.
The title for my last one was a response to GBRS.
No, the title of the video, nobody steal this title. If anybody steals this title, I'm going to find you, disembowel you, and then hang you on the nearest street corner by your entrails. But it's GBRS slop, okay? But it's SLOP, okay? If anybody takes that title, I'm going to find you, do things to you. All right. Speaking of finding people, EOTech has been finding whoever the heck is interested in their newest offering. All right. They the EXPS 3 HD, they added $1,000, or well, they added like $300 to the price tag and gave it a rotary dial and a couple things. And yeah, so let's let them explain it in their own words. Of course, Randy's like, he's literally sweating over it right now. Now, Randy sweats a lot, to be fair, but he's like, oh, dude, I can't wait to get my paws, my mitts on the EXPS 3 HD. I love how one of their selling points is with revolutionary aluminum body.
What?
Revolutionary? You know, it's like Sightmark's been doing that for a decade. All right, man. Welcome to 2016, old man. All right.
Did you see
the
Sightmark
Kenosha
commented
Kid
on the?
Yes, the side by sides of the Sightmark in this are quite funny. But no, the Kenosha Kid is he's been dropping bodies with a Sightmark before EOTechs were aluminum. Okay, all right.
Been the go-to CQB optic for US SOCOM. So when we aim to upgrade it with even more technology, strength, and durability in mind, the next logical step was to make it.
Bro, filmed in the fires of Mount Doom, one optic was made in secret. 9 rings of death rule them all, or something. I don't know.
Nearly indestructible and out of metal.
Nearly, we've got to add even more technology, even more strength and robustness, made out of metal.
Upgrade it with even more technology, strength, and durability in mind. The next logical step was to make it nearly indestructible and out of metal. The EXPS 3 HD, EOTech's next generation heavy-duty weapon sight. Crafted from solid aircraft-grade aluminum, the HD offers the same
Okay, I do gotta say, this music is a little better, all right? It's still like trash rock, but it's a little heavy, a little darker, okay? I like it. It's a little better. It's better than the straight up like Korn music PSA. This is going places. I could listen to this.
EOTech's next generation heavy-duty weapon sight. Crafted from solid aircraft-grade aluminum, the HD offers the same trademark 1X holographic reticle.
Also, I do have to say, they made somebody computer generate all of this, okay?
Instead of just filming it.
They could have given me $11 and I would have filmed all of the in-scope footage that they wanted, okay? All right? But they were like, you know what? Some boomer was like, no, we're going to CG this whole thing. I mean, some of the shots like look nice, but it's all CG nonsense. Like, why did they do this?
Solid aircraft-grade aluminum, the HD offers the same trademark 1X holographic reticle as its predecessors that you've come to know and trust.
Oh, gotta be careful here. YouTube, that's a airsoft. Shush.
Of course, the EXPS 3 HD still provides the fastest reticle.
See, yeah, the whole thing should have been this. Should have been through the optic, actual shooting. You know, if you're gonna do something more quote unquote cinematic, you know, make it a Delta V terrorist, like, you know, with fake blood and stuff like that. Okay, make it entertaining at least. All right, you know, if you're gonna spend big money on a marketing push like this, rather than putting it in CG, like get the coordinator from John Wick to do like a fight scene for you, right? Cost you like 6 figures and you'll get a really sick scene out of it. Okay,
it's the fastest reticle on.
What'd you say? Sorry,
I said I think Taryn's busy.
Taryn's not the fight coordinator for those. No.
Target acquisition, but now without the need for the aluminum.
Yeah, now without the need for the aluminum hull, because we decided to actually make the whole thing out of aluminum. Because remember, EOTechs was renowned for their durability for decades now for plastic bodies, which is very funny to think about. I actually don't know how durable they really are. Like, I think the electronics are pretty squared away, and obviously the DLAM issues that, you know, some would say still plague them in certain areas, problematic, but I actually don't even know how structurally durable they were back in the day. Like, I've broken the glass on a 5.58.
Hood found on traditional EOTech sites. So the field of view is even greater. It's powered by a single CR123 lithium battery and includes a locking adjustable quick detach base that allows for immediate removal or attachment.
See, again, like this animation is good. Like it looks really nice. This looks like a YouTube explains video. But my question is though, we already know this. Like anybody who's used an EOTech, again, over the last decade knows all of this stuff. You should be telling me your new features, okay? Why it's better. Why should I care about this optic? Tell me what's good about this optic.
It's metal.
Big Jow says no recoil lug. So if you look at the crossbolt on an EOTech, it is squared off, so it technically acts like a recoil lug.
It's powered by a single CR123 lithium battery and includes a locking adjustable quick detach base that allows for immediate removal or attachment. The reticle includes an easy-to-find 68 MOA ring and single 1 MOA aiming dot for extreme accuracy. And the HD is fully submersible to 33 feet. The traditional push-button system was replaced with an easy-to-use rheostat dial, providing fast.
You know what? This looked AI in the original photos, probably because it was like a pre-render of what it was supposed to look like, but it still looks bad. I think this rotary dial on the back, it's like a tumor off the side of the optic, right? Before you had them inside the hood, so it was a little cleaner, right? That's what it used to look like. But now it's just like this knob hanging off the side with no night vision lockout, which is obnoxious.
The push-button system was replaced with an easy-to-use rheostat dial, providing fast manipulation, even with gloves on. The 13-position dial provides 7 daytime brightness settings, 4 settings compatible with night vision devices, and 1 auto bright and off position.
So that's the problem too. So if you're not familiar, old EOTechs came with 20 daylight settings and 10 night vision settings with a dedicated night vision button. Why? Like, that was one of the nice things about EOTechs is for night vision use, man. They were perfect. They were the big dog. They were the best. Like any situation, you have a brightness level that's going to match. All right. Now, some people might not like the fact that you have so many brightness settings, but in terms of fine tuning and actually shooting at night, like EOTechs, pretty close to the top dog. Now, I'm sure 4 is still going to be good enough, but it's just strange choice. Okay.
When set at auto bright, the integrated light pipe on the EXPS3 HD will quickly and automatically adjust the reticle brightness to differing light conditions. The user can quickly override this by manually dialing to a unique brightness setting.
So Charlie Cox says I'd be more inclined to buy if they just added Shake Awake and the ability to go from donut to single dot. Keep everything else the same. Well, I don't know if that's possible with holographic tech to have a switching reticle without switching out like the actual reticle, like physically from the optic itself, right? Because with a holographic, you can make the reticle like literally anything, but it's like an actual physical thing that's inside of the optic. So I don't know. I mean, it might be possible somehow to get the reticle to be able to switch on one, but it's different. I personally prefer just the single dot, but you can get the 3-1. I think it's the 3-1. Where it is just the 1 MOA dot. So they do make just a 1 MOA dot version. But yeah, Shake Awake is nice. Like, again, that's like a decade late, but it's nice.
The EXPS HD also incorporates Shake Awake technology. The optic can be programmed to enter into sleep mode after 10 minutes, 1 hour, or 12 hours of no motion to preserve battery life. The slightest movement will instantaneously wake the reticle to the last brightness setting used. The dedicated off position powers the optic down and disables the Shake Awake functionality. With its rugged metal construction and its...
Say what?
Why 12 hours? That seems a bit excessive for
no,
auto off.
So that's the standard EOTech auto off. I think is if the last button pressed is, or if you hold the up button, it's 12 hours, and if you hold the down button, it's 1 hour auto off or something like that.
But the motion sensing on this.
But the motion sensing for 12 hours, I think that's fine because it's for people who are paranoid that what happens when the auto sensing dies, like the was it not the gyroscope, but the accelerometer, what happens when that dies on the inside so it no longer wakes up, right? So having it 12 hours means if you're out and about and it dies, it's not going to accidentally shut off for 12 hours, right? So that's why. Yeah, it's like, keep in mind that some intern wrote the script for this, or their social media guy wrote the script for this. And they're like, I need to get through all of the important features, and I have all of this footage. And then the editor put all this together with probably an AI voice. Because, I mean, they couldn't even film all the stuff. Like, they had to use the digital renderings of it when they should be using, like, good B-roll. You know, cool guy, do all the things with it, okay? Yeah, Cody, we covered some more of Hollison's drops today. They've been dropping a little bit of everything. Gene Lemming says, is there a case of accelerometers dying in an optic? Yeah, all the time. Happens all the time. Somebody will pick up their optic and it no longer turns on automatically and they have to press it. Like, I mean, I've had it happen to optics of my own, right? And so the auto on and off no longer works. It just turns off after a certain amount of time. So anytime you pick it up, you have to turn it back on.
I
That
have
happens.
seen instances of when the battery gets low, the shake awake stops working. You have to manually turn it on and off. But I don't know. Just seemed like
I mean,
12
it is
hours
another
without motion.
thing that can go wrong, right?
Yeah.
Ability to withstand extreme levels of recoil. It can successfully mount and be used not only on carbines, but also on medium caliber.
Oh, in isolation, it can successfully be mounted and used on anything but a Jackal.
Or a Scar.
Well, maybe the new Scar, okay? Because again, they got that lightened hydraulic buffer now. So maybe that will no longer kill optics, according to the urban legend, the totally urban legend, James Reeves.
Machine guns, grenade launchers, and the 50 cal M2. The next evolution in holographic weapons.
All right. EOTech, this is problematic. We're racially stereotyping drug kingpins here with this Mexican man. That's just uncalled for, bro. Unbelievable.
So it will go on the grenade launcher, but aren't those supposed to have a set amount of drop?
Dog, I don't know. I mean, again, EOTech can make a reticle for grenade launchers. They can just put that in there.
Yeah,
right?
I guess
they can make
just
anything.
like
Because I
that.
mean, they make reticles for the machine guns, right? For all the big mounted ones and stuff like that. Let me make this small again for a second.
In holographic weapon sights, but with even more badass sprinkled into the recipe. The heavy-duty EXPS-3 from EOTech. The tough just got tougher.
I do need to listen to that line again. With even more badassery sprinkled on top. EOTech.
Evolution in holographic weapon sight,
Yep. Don't kill me, YouTube.
but with even more badass sprinkled into the recipe. The heavy-duty EXPS-3 from EOTech. The tough just got tougher.
Which is what I did in the toilet this morning. Yeah, I know. There is an M203 EOTech. Yeah, for sure. Like, because they can make the reticles like anything. So yeah, whatever it can be mounted to, you can make a reticle for it. That was a little game. Yeah, 1992. I mean, maybe it's cool because it's retro, right? Because they're trying to be a little cringe, you know? Maybe it's self-aware cringe. I don't know. This ad would go hard in 2005 or 2015, sorry. EA. Dude, it is that voice, isn't it? EA Sports. EOTech. Badass sprinkles. Yeah, you guys excited now? You guys super excited now? All right. Well, how about, again, we're talking about the suppressor. Well, actually, Richard, I'll leave it up to you. Are we going to talk about cheap, crappy suppressors, or are we going to talk about Desert Tech's new goodies?
I'm going to go for Desert Tech's new goodies, and we'll save the cheap suppressors for later.
All right, fine. Well, we'll end the gun stuff on cheap suppressors, but we have the new. Is Hawkeye still in the chat? Because this honestly looks like Hawkeye stuff. So, Desert Tech's new goodies. Is Lance still in the chat? Lance is having a stroke right now. But they decided to come out with a carbon fiber SD handguard system for their SRSs. Now, I'm not going to play the video, of course, because of things, but they came out with a new carbon fiber system that can be thrown on to basically any of their barrel lengths, because again, it is SD size, so you can throw your suppressor underneath if you have a short barrel. For most of their SRSs, you can get it a la carte, or you can buy one with it, and that's fine. I mean, the nice thing about carbon fiber is, one, it's obviously very light. Two, it doesn't really heat up all that much. It does not transfer heat at all. So for an SD system, it's not bad for that application, right? Is that Joel Weapon? No, that is a founding member of the Order, which is a group of Mormons in Utah that control an area. I mean, they got lawyers, real estate, weapons manufacturers, all of them are part of this secretive organization called the Order. You should look into their trafficking history. Allegedly. Don't send me a C&D, okay? Allegedly, okay? There's articles written that you could find on this man and his brothers and his company, and again, the Order, if you want to look into them, okay?
Looks like fat Matt Walsh.
Anyway, so that's what they did with the SRS system here. As I cycle through it, carbon fiber, it's lightweight, it's good at heat mitigation. Okay, fine, cool enough. Blah 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 blah. But there's even more that I want to talk about, because they're also unveiling 300 blackout microns. So the microns are their shorty bullpups, and man, you can't get much shorter than that in terms of like a 300 blackout with suppressor with like a 10-inch barrel. Very impressively small package for capability. If you needed a Mark 18 style of firearm, but you wanted a bullpup and something that's super short, I mean, I wouldn't put an Elcan on it, but a Maul is actually really good for that, because you only need the 2 buttons there. It's kind of interesting, kind of cool. Okay, so this in full auto would rip. Now, I've had the pleasure of shooting, I forget what they call their full auto, but at their range day last year, I actually met the gentleman here and shot his guns full auto. Pretty nice. You know, it's fun. Shoots nice. Interesting systems. Would I pay $3,000 for one? Maybe not, but I do think that the Micron is cool. I think that it's a cool concept if you wanted the shortest possible bullpup. And again, it comes in 300 blackout or 5.56 now. It's kind of cool, okay? It is kind of cool. If you wanted a gap gun between a PDW and a rifle, like this is one of the, this is an SMG, right? This would be an SMG in most games, okay? Kind of cool. Tiny Mormon package. Stop it, man. That's not what I said. Impressively small. That's what my wife said to me. Unbelievable. All right, now this is the interesting part. I got to skip a little bit because we got new Mormon magic ammo. Actually, maybe I can just make it small and play it, okay? Because they are developing a new, I shouldn't say new. Everybody's doing it now. Steel is back in vogue, baby. We have more steel than you could possibly imagine.
Metal.
Yeah, now made completely out of metal.
And it's actually an ammunition announcement.
What is everybody doing with the butt rock? Can you guys make a video without butt rock?
SIG has made waves throughout the industry with their NGSW XM7 rifle. What's unique about this new military adopted rifle is they have a new ammunition case that's a 2-piece case that allows them to shoot at very high velocities at 80,000 PSI in this ammunition. Our new product offering is called the Mach 3 line of ammunition, and it uses a hybrid technology.
So let's only blow it up here. I'll cut to the chase here, guys. It's more steel-cased ammo. It's more steel-cased. Yeah, it's they call it the Mach 3. What does Badlands call it? The NAS 3, right? NAS 3 or something like that. It allows us to charge even more for the round. True. But I mean, listen, people are trying to figure out, how do we get more out of less? Okay. How do I make a 155 grain projectile go even faster out of an even shorter barrel? And well, there's only so much you can play around with in physics. And one of the ways to do that is to increase chamber pressure, right? Let me pack more powder into this area. That should be able to get it done. So you don't have to load it up to 100,000 PSI, but the cases are capable of 100,000 psi. Now, weapons, barrels, and bolts will have to catch up a little bit, but yes, you can make cases that can hold 100,000 psi. Titanium cases, no.
Average 7.62 NATO is running what, 55?
Yeah, almost all ammunition is going between 50 and 62 at max. Like the AR is maxed out at 62K per spec, right? You can obviously load it hotter, but you're going to start to run into certain issues.
50% increases, that's fairly substantial. So.
Similar to the SIG technology, but instead of a brass wall, it has a steel case wall. And this provides significant benefits over the SIG offering that we're going to get into now. So first of all, in our Mach 3 ammunition, we're able to achieve 300 feet per second of increased velocity at near max pressure of brass case ammunition. So brass case ammunition, max pressure is at 60,000 PSI. At about 65,000 PSI, we're able to add 300 feet per second of velocity across the board on the offerings of ammunition that we're going to bring to market. This is achieved because the steel wall of the casing is significantly thinner than the soft brass wall case here, giving you up to 14% additional powder capacity in the case.
I mean, we've kind of talked about all of this stuff before, but there are advantages to steel case, right? So you can make the case thinner while increasing strength. So the case itself is much lighter. It's like 15% lighter for 5.56. It's like 30% lighter for 308. So you can carry a lot more ammo. That's nice. You can increase chamber pressure. You also have increased case capacity as well, right? So there's nice advantages to steel. The downside is that it doesn't transfer heat quite as well. So brass cases kind of act like little heat sinks. So they heat up really hot and then you drag it out of the chamber, right? Whereas steel is not quite going to do the same thing. It's also a little harder on extractors. There's a little bit different of a friction coefficient. So you might need to do something special with the cases. There are upsides to it. The downsides, of course, are that, yes, what is throat erosion? What is barrel life? What is bolts breaking, right? Can my bolt handle 75,000 PSI? Probably once or twice, 500 times, 1,000 times, maybe not. Yeah. Yeah, nobody's reloading anyways. I know there are some of you guys in chat that actually do reload, but for me, who shoots a ridiculous amount of ammo, I don't reload, so it's not a concern for most of us. Also, if the government is funding your checks, you also don't care about reloading, right?
So that gives you that.
What's up?
308 is one of the few that I actually have dies for and have a setup for reloading, because I've got everything from 90 grain to 200 plus. 210 is what I think I've got right now, but I've got a wide range of 30 cal projectiles, so I can push at all sorts of different speeds. That's the only one I'm interested in.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I know that it saves money and you can do cool things with it, but for me it's like I don't have the time to do the stuff I need to do now, let alone
crushed on time
reload
too,
for 10 hours a week or something.
I inherited 7,000 primers, so I just
but I have to, if I shoot 1,000 rounds a week, right? So the idea of me reloading 1,000 rounds of 9mm and 5.56 every week.
Oh, it doesn't make sense.
Unless I had an auto loader. It's like, okay, yeah, spend 30 grand or something on a nice loading system. It's like, well, I would have rather just bought the 100,000 rounds of ammo and not worried about it for 2 years, right?
Some additional 300 308. Some of the stuff for the 308s, some of the stuff for the 308, like the more bougie rounds, are almost $3 a round. So it really does save on some of that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're shooting a lot of match ammo, right? So, but I'm not in PRS. Some people are, right? So if that is your thing, is doing PRS and is winning matches, if you're very serious about that. But I mean, the most precision application that I do, hitting a medium-sized target at 700 yards, right? And not really under a time constraint, not really under external pressures. So, and if I miss, it's like, oh, I missed. There's no pressure there, right? So put those kids to work. True. That's good. Yeah, of course. Everybody's like, listen, I built my system for $10,000, John. You don't need to spend $30K. I only spent $10,000. It's like, all right. All right. I'll take my entire earnings for YouTube, my entire profit for YouTube in 1 year, and I'll make a reloading setup so that I can spend hours reloading. Great.
Feet per second for only a 5,000 PSI added pressure over brass case ammo. So essentially you're getting the same kind of performance increase with this for 65,000 PSI versus.
Steven Shred says, any goals to do a PRS match this year? Man, that would be fun. Okay. But I would have to, it would be so late in the year because it's like, what are my goals for this year actually? Well, goal number 1 is to make it through SHOT Show and not die or get taken out at some point. Goal number 2 is to become a GM. Right, which I'm really close to, so that shouldn't be too hard. Famous last words, but shouldn't be too hard to become a GM this year. Goal number 3, maybe after I become a GM in USPSA, I'll move on to something else. But I'm also I live in an area where there's like 3 PRS matches a year, and they're all like 6 hours away from me. So, you know, maybe, but that comes with practice and building setups and really dialing that in, and it's a whole other feature set to learn. Maybe.
This at 80,000 PSI. Another benefit of the steel case is the thinner wall substantially reduces the weight of the loaded cartridge. For a 5.56, it's about 12% lighter. For up to the 50 cal, that's about 50% lighter. So the overall ammunition loadout weight is substantially reduced. It also reduces the cost of shipping ammunition around the world. Another advantage of the steel case is we can push the pressures all the way up to 100,000 PSI safely. Although we're not offering that hot of an ammunition load, any military end users that is interested in pushing beyond that 300 foot per second velocity improvement, we can work together in development efforts to do that. Another benefit of the steel case construction is it is able to hold a much tighter tolerance than the stamped brass case equivalents. And
yeah, so I mean, he's going to go through all the benefits that we've talked about before. It is kind of interesting that we have another company getting in to the steel ammo manufacturing game, right? I don't think that's a bad idea at all. I think that's quite nice, quite cool. Okay, it's quite cool to see more people getting into the game for that. So maybe at some point in the future, it will be cheaper. No promises on that. Midwest Way says, make sure you stop by the VPA booth and tell the guys I sent you. Well, I don't even know who VPA is. Okay, so what's VPA? Yeah, I mean, 65,000 PSI, bigger case capacity, 300 FPS. So you can either run it even a shorter barrel, or you just get even more performance out of, you know, whatever round that you're slinging down rain. Vantage Point Armory. Okay. If I see them, dude, I mean, there's only like 3,000 companies there that I need to stop and talk to. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Very poor armaments. Vajit Patel Agency. Vajit Patel, get out of my way. Okay. Well, now that we've gone through that end of the spectrum, we talked about potatoes and the consequences of free tax stamps, which I think is overall a very good thing, of course. I'm not dogging on that, but we are going to see a flood, a deluge of poor quality offerings from fly-by-night suppressor companies that are going to take advantage of the boon in suppressor sales this year for sure. Lamb Chop asks if I'll be streaming from SHOT. Yes, probably every day. So we can talk about the cringe, okay? Now, here we go. Lyman produces products, launches new wallet-friendly Sonicor suppressors. Sonicor, gotta go fast. Sonicor Suppressors, a new brand from Lyman Products, is introducing 11 new suppressor models across 4 platforms for 2026, and they're all under $300. Pretty cheap. Sonicor brings a proven and highly regarded European design My brain is ruined, so every time I read regarded now, I'm like, regarded. European design to the US market, according to a news release from Lyman. These suppressors are modular, use engineered baffle systems and stainless steel cores, and feature integrated muzzle brakes. The 4 distinct lines are designed for AR rifles, light hunting rifles, 9mm handguns, and 22 rimfire firearms. We're told MSRP will range from $199 to $299 depending on the model. Here's a sneak peek before we get our hands on these at SHOT. The Wrecker. So designed for high volume semi-automatic rifles, the Wrecker will be available in 223 and 30 cal in both direct thread and over barrel configurations. For a $300 suppressor, over barrel, right? So as you can kind of see here, it goes over the barrel with this big sleeve. That's kind of interesting, okay, for $299. Unfortunately, this Light's modular suppressor is machined from 6026 T9 aluminum with 303 stainless steel baffle inserts and thicker wall construction for durability, as well as integrated stainless steel muzzle brake. Now, what these are, these are better than Temu suppressors, okay? But these are basically Temu grade suppressors. You know, it's an aluminum sleeve, right? It with steel core, little slide on baffles, okay? And then threaded. That's basically it. That's basically what these are. They're very cheap. Very, very cheap. It's cool that you can get an over barrel suppressor, for like $300. But these are not like high quality designs. These are going to be very cheap, which honestly is fine. If you're a low volume shooter, if you're not shooting 20, 30,000 rounds a year, if you just want something that's big and quiet and honestly not that heavy either, considering it's mostly made out of aluminum, these will work. These will suppress the gun. They will be very high back pressure. I guarantee you these will be very high back pressure. But they will work, okay? And they're going to be dirt cheap. They're going to be dirt cheap. You're going to be out the door for $200, $250, $300. The Paradox, designed as a lightweight hunting can, is again over the barrel or direct thread. They don't have any other options, so these will not be hub compatible. Like the Wrecker, the Paradox features aluminum baffle modules, stainless steel inserts that form a strong steel core. It also has a black non-glare mil-spec hardcoat anodized finish and integrated stainless steel muzzle brake. So again, these are all basically the same design. It's either going to be fully aluminum or on the quote-unquote rifle cans, you're going to get stainless steel insert baffles, right? So really cheap. Really, really cheap to make, okay? Not particularly heavy because they're partially aluminum, but big, bulky, high back pressure, cheap to manufacture, cheap to produce cans. The 9mm suppressor, which is the Valor, all right, features 8 baffles in its full length configuration, but is fully modular. So the user can tailor the length for the job at hand. The Valor 9 is made from 6026 T9 with durable black mil-spec finish and knurled exterior. It features integrated booster system and ships with a piston in 1 of 2 thread options.
Dude, it just looks like it's got a brass compression fitting just jammed in the end.
It actually
it looks
does
like
look
a bike
that,
peg
yes.
with a compression fitting.
It does, yeah.
I'm sorry.
But I mean, it's, the knurling is like, okay, that's nice. And you can see all the different baffles and how they're put together. And it's like, listen, for $300, would I try a big Wrecker that's an over barrel suppressor? Sure, why not? They're cheap, okay? They're not going to be the quietest things out there. They're not going to be flow through. They're going to be very high back pressure, but they're going to work, okay? And we're going to get a lot more of these. Because, I mean, honestly, this is what suppressors look like in other countries. They're very cheaply manufactured. They're very inexpensive. In other countries, you can get suppressors for $200, $100. A lot of the times your cheapo rifles will come with a suppressor, right? Of course they would.
How long do you think until we get spicy bicycle pegs on Amazon for $50 a piece?
Well, that's complicated because, I mean, we've seen that kind of flood the market and come and go, and you can still find them in certain places. But again, I I don't know why personally the reward to risk ratio of catching an NFA violation for a $0 fee when if you're anywhere based online, you're already on the list. Okay, Palantir knows your location. All right, they know what time you took a dump this morning. Okay, so like, it's not that big of a deal, guys. All right. Versus like risking a 10-year felony because they know you have a device you shouldn't have. That's just stupid to me. That's playing with fire that you don't need to.
I'm saying have these set up to where there's just not drilled in the end and you form wanting it.
Right. Well, you can still form one anything you want, but then it's the paradox of, do you buy it ahead of time and then show them pictures of what you've already bought to convert into a suppressor, or do you just grab a screenshot online of what you're going to buy?
Yeah,
you know,
you just send them a picture of a screenshot.
You probably can. Because I mean, with that though, you would think that we would still have a lot of the Form 1 companies, because if you remember, there were dedicated companies that were making Form 1 products for you to buy and then Form 1. Those kind of all shriveled up and died because they were all worried about their, sure, of course, but that's in person, not necessarily online. And you can buy whatever listen, you can go to Home Depot and make a suppressor if you want all the time. All right, but talking about actually buying like completed products.
Earlier. They said that they Form 1 a pipe from Lowe's.
I'm sure. I mean, we literally talked about them Form 1ing a potato. So yes, you can do just about anything you want when it comes to that now. Yeah, on TFB TV, they go to Europe and the locals describe it as polite to use a suppressor. I could see that becoming a norm here. I think so. I think so. Well, let's get to some of you guys real fast. Focus Group's wife for 5 says your Asian accent is equivalent to the 3 pigs from Shrek. Yeah, it continuously morphs and changes. It is what I need it to be. Okay, Anna, I'm gonna put you back in the basement. Moonman for 5 says this is like an ugly ACR with an AK front end and an AR lower and a Magpul we have at home stock. I think stuff I don't like should be illegal. Yeah, the Vuk is not a good looking gun. Like, I don't know who's into this, but it's not me. It doesn't even look like a good AK silhouette. Thank you, Moonman. Lightsport for 2 says, I just want an AK-12/AK-200 clone. That's good. It's probably a paradox there as well. Thank you, Lightsport. Josh for 5 says, do you ever shut up, dude? Hey, listen. How dare you take the Lord's name in vain, dude? Somebody ban this man. Ban Josh from chat. Just because it's funny. That'll teach him a lesson. Mitt Rhombus for 5 says this looks like a jackal that's been bubbled into looking like an AK-12 or AK-19 so that can have an affordable clone of the AK-12 or 19. You're not wrong. And that's probably what PSA was thinking. How can I cheaply make something that looks like something else to sell it for profit, right? It's like, is it good? We don't worry about that. We just build the thing, make it look like the thing, or even remotely like the thing, so people who want the thing will buy this instead. Thank you, Mitt Rhombus. Moonman for 10 says, you know what the AK needs? The only thing every gun needs. The ability to hold 0 and the ability to buy it while not exploding. Something Alcoholic Slavs mostly figured out, but PSA can't. It's surprising the amount of started projects to completed projects, right? They need to start finishing some products, all right, because their own fan base will only hang on for so long. I mean, their fan base is long suffering, all right, like a woman who's been beaten a couple times by her husband, right? And he always says he's going to change, and next year I'm sure things will be better or something like that. And PSA fans are still hanging on, you know, they're still there. They're trying to make it work. They're being good little housewives, and PSA just keeps slapping them around and shaking them down for money and not even doing what they said they were going to do. Tragic. Thanks, Moonman. Josh for another 2. Somebody banned this man already. Kick Richard out. He's old news. Wow. Look who's talking, Josh.
Well, I'm definitely kicking him out now.
Yeah, get rid of this guy. Moonman for 5 says, sell me a sub gun from 60 years ago. It will work and look good. Well, mostly, right? Mostly. Let me go back here, actually, because now we're talking about the X9. Certified hood classic here. Can you hold up the gun, please? Let me see the gun, okay? Now this is a hop chest shot, okay? So don't get too excited here. Let's get a signature hop smirk going. Where is it? There we go. A hop piercing through the BS that whatever this man is spewing at the moment. Moonman for 5 says, sell me a sub gun from 60 years ago and it will work and look good. Something a guy in a machine shop decades ago is simply lost tech to modern America. Yeah, I mean, there is a bit of an argument for some lost manufacturing capability. I mean, just look at the moon landing. That was totally real, guys. Very, very real. Moonman, front of the 5, says all guns should be old guns or something entirely new. Stop trying to sell me plastic garbage. Sell me something that needs linseed oil or power packs. There we go, dude. Until we get the shoulder fired rail guns, all right? All guns are just AR-15s. Thank you, Moonman. Moonman, front of the 2, says, how do aircraft grade aluminum? Are they teachers? I give that joke a B-. All right, I'm gonna grade that joke. Moonman for 10. Moonman, you're just. Honestly, I don't even know what the difference is between holographic and red dots, but I don't want people to know that I don't know, and at this point, I'm too afraid to ask. True, dude. Listen, if you have an astigmatism, they all look like dots to you. Okay, they all look like blurs to you. Moonman for 2 says, how do we get more ammo for less moolah? How about that? Yeah, I feel like that's where people should be going, right? To actually take care of the civilian market, the consumer market, but nobody actually cares. Nobody really cares about the average civilian, okay? They're all chasing gay government contracts and how to, subvert the market. Lightsport for 2 says a Delta team, Desert Tech rep talks like he was dropped as a kid. Oh, that's not nice. I'm sure that he had a wonderful childhood growing up. Thank you, Lightsport. Amorai Boy for 2 says Mormons lying and scamming for their Lord as usual. Dude, I almost took a look at that. What was Nick Shirley? Not Nick Shirley, the other guy. Tyler Oliveira. He did the video expose on the Jewish community in New York, dude. That is another whole load of barnacles. Okay, total load of barnacles, those guys. Thank you, Amorai Boy. Moonman for 5 says, you know what's great about steel? It's supposed to be cheap. Why can't these mongoloid Mormontards give me that? Yeah. Wasn't PSA or AAC supposed to be making cheap steel cased ammo? Wasn't that one of their things?
Yeah, but apparently ammo prices being too high drove them out of business or something. I don't know.
Something, yeah. Thank you, Moonman. Moonman, front of the 5, says, going to give the Mormons the under the bus treatment for this, or literally just for being Mormon. That's not very nice, but I mean, listen, okay, the Micron's cool, okay? I would take a 300 black Micron. Thank you, Moonman. Logan sucks at shooting for 5, says, my goal for 2026 is to beat you to GM and redemption at Area 3. Well, I'm sorry, Logan, but my goals and your goals are on a interdiction pass, and I don't intend to lose. So how about that? All right. How about that?
See himself reaching GM before you.
I can imagine it. I can taste it, Logan. No, but I'm just kidding. Logan is very good. Logan does, in fact, not suck at shooting. And he probably will beat me if I had to guess. Logan sucks at shooting for 2, says Holy Nerling Batman. Yeah, listen, they are gripped for your pleasure. Okay, they're gonna cook your skin like a rusty barbecue. Thank you, Logan. Moonman again says, my goal for 2026 is to do one better than Logan and just beat you. I just want to beat John. I just want to beat him. I'm gonna beat him so bad.
Yeah, I imagine that Nerling would probably leave a very, very nice burn mark if you actually got it. I messed up a couple weeks back when I was at the range. Buddy next to me was running an FRT 300 blackout, and we ran like 6 or 7 mags back to back, and then I picked it up to run one, and it was about a 7.5 or 8 inch barrel. So when I went to pull it up, my thumb slipped just forward enough to land right on the edge of the fucking hub.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
That will light you right up.
Yeah.
Looks like a barbell. Yeah, barbell knurling. So you can tighten it down, I guess, because they are only direct thread. But what I would prefer is any direct thread can give me wrench flats.
Yeah, I don't understand why they don't have either wrench flats or the port in the end sized for like a Allen. What would that be? 9/16 Allen.
Yeah, like at the end. Or,
Yeah.
I mean, you can still get stuff off with like a strap wrench or something, but it's just obnoxious, right? Thank you, Sabardik. Appreciate it. Moonman for 5 says if you're going to do a Home Depot, if you're going to go to Home Depot to make a homemade suppressor, you might as well go to Home Depot and make something much cooler than a suppressor. If I'm going to Home Depot, dude, it's to report the hangers on outside to the ICE agents. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I used to hate going to Home Depot as a kid. Thank you, Moonman. Sean Weiland says Hop just has resting hangover face. Yeah, this is like a day 4 Hop, if I had to guess. Maybe a day 3 Hop. And Hop is just like, I'm over it, dude. I've already been here for a week. I want to go home. Thank you, Sean. Amrai Boy for 2 says PSA design team is just Reddit and 3D printers. True, dude. They use Redditoids as like power cells, and they just hook up 3D printing machines to their brains, and then whatever they think of just comes out the other side. Most of it's degenerate nonsense, but every now and again.
They
Thank you
make
for that.
the Keltec design team look competent.
I don't know if I'd go that far. Sorry, over on Rumble, Just Some Space Cowboy says, who wins, AK-12 with a dust cover rail that doesn't hold 0, or a PSA VOOC, or however you spell it, with out-of-spec top rail? Well, that's the thing, right? So the VOOC with the barrel falling out, or an AK-12 with the dust cover that doesn't hold 0, who wins? We'll never know. But that is funny.
You can put the gas tube rail. It'd be all right.
Moonman for 5 says, looking at these suppressors reminds me of a joke about turning ribbed condoms inside out because you are selfish. Wow. Thoughts that have never once entered my mind are being unconsensually forced in there by Moonman. Sabardik for $10 over on Ko-Fi says, what do you call an adult man who rides a children's bicycle? A pedal file.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
For $10, dude? For $10? Unbelievable, dude. You're getting fired. All right. I hope Jake is in the chat right now, because I have some wonderful news for you. Are we going straight to, we're going to blackpilling after this, so it's going to be rough for a second. All right. It's going to be a little rough for a second. So, but before we get to full on blackpilling, how about some black queening? And I hope that doesn't mean something gross, but let me find this Candace clip real fast. There it is, dude. All right, guys. If you guys have been following the story, okay, Charlie Kirk is the story of the century, the story of the millennia so far, to be true. But this is Candace Owens, of course, and she had revealed to her in a dream the truth about Charlie Kirk, his assassination, the people behind it. And let me tell you guys that this went deeper. Some of the chat would like to go deeper, honestly, but this goes deeper than you could possibly imagine. Okay, at first her conspiracy slop was laughable, but I'm genuinely concerned for her mental health at this point. Where is her husband? Well, her husband's probably gay, which is why he married Candace in the first place, so he is probably preoccupied with other men. But this is, I like how Breaking 911 is covering this. Candace Owens is now saying that Charlie Kirk was a time traveler. Yes, let's just listen for a minute. This is quite, before we get to blackpilling, let's listen to the horse lady, to the toes lady say some things.
Why did Charlie think he was a time traveler? He said, as I showed you in earlier messages, that he was a time traveler and he had to find me. Is that just something people are saying to their homies in text messages? And again, not anything that I would have placed so much emphasis on back when he was saying it, but it came to fruition. The other parts, he did die young. Why did he think that him dying young was necessary in order to change?
How many people in the chat just got lost in her eyes? They just forget what she's saying, right? That's why people watch her. They're just like, those eyes are so far apart and they're so crazy. No, yeah, Charlie Kirk, time traveler, predicted his own death. He said he texted me once. I have secret text messages. It came to me in a dream that Charlie Kirk said he was a time traveler and that he was betrayed by one of his closest friends.
Why did Charlie think he was a time traveler? He said, as I showed you in earlier messages, he was a time traveler and he had to find me. Is that just something people are saying to their homies in text messages? And again, not anything that I would have placed so much emphasis on back when he was saying it, but it came to fruition. The other parts, he did die young. Why did he think that him dying young was necessary in order to change things? He did die young. It is related to Turning Point USA. In some way or another, at the very least, we could all agree it's related to him speaking at a campus event for Turning Point USA. I'm totally occupied by this. I tell you, I read these messages and I'm going, what is this? What is reality, actually? And Charlie died. Yes, like I said, it was related to this organization. And I think we would all agree that his death and the manner that they did it changed the world in ways that I don't think we can fully realize, or certainly not in a way that I can articulate. You just cannot pretend that all of this is one big unhappy coincidence. It's entirely plausible, I think, that they knew something about Charlie. And that's why they had him marked and had him monitored and had him likely followed since he was young. And
this is the other part of this. So Charlie Kirk was involved in some late stage MK Ultra Special Kids, New Mutants, Charles Xavier School for Gifted Children, X-Men scenario where he was marked from birth as the one to change the space-time continuum, and he's been marked since then. But I do have some exclusive footage of Charlie Kirk in Agartha guarding the gates currently here. So just know that Charlie Kirk and George Droid, they are in a better place together right now, guarding the gates to Agartha while sending ethereal messages to Candace's dreams. All right.
And maybe they thought, like the agents think, that if they swarmed him and they stayed with him and they pretended to be his friend, that ultimately they could control Charlie and perhaps change an outcome. They could literally change an outcome related to Charlie. So when for the first time in his life, because I do believe he was managed, I mean, I've already said I was handled. I didn't recognize that I had agents. And for the first time in his life, Charlie...
She's been handled, guys. She's been handled. Let me tell you.
Peeks his head up and starts to push back in a meaningful way. They couldn't stop him from becoming bigger. That seemed to be inevitable. But they panicked. They seem to have panicked, right? I mean, this is just starting to happen within a year when Charlie's going like, hey, man, I don't actually think this. I don't actually believe this. And then he goes, you know what? Take the money. Take the money out of the organization. And they panicked. They freaked out. And their solution was, no, just kill him. Just kill him.
That's right. He tried to get out of the Matrix. Now, let me get the time traveling one. I want to get this one down. Let me see if it's further along. Oh, of course. You can never scroll Twitter. It's a good idea that I pulled it down. Candace, Charlie Kirk, because there's better clips. Candace, Charlie Kirk. Because I want to do the Sumerian one. That's the good one where Operation, is it? Is it Operation Looking Glass? Is that the one? What's the name of it? Shoot. Candace, is it Looking Glass? I think it's Looking Glass, which is the Sumerian technology that allows them to see in the future that stopped working in 2012. Project Looking Glass. Oh, well, here's the... I don't... okay, I don't know if this is the real tweet at all, but this is allegedly the tweet. I'm an alien. I think I'm a time traveler. This is my home, but I think you found me and time traveled with me. I think Charlie is just on the za there. Okay, here we go. There we go.
These whistleblowers, like
All right.
This brings us obviously to the CIA's project Looking Glass. Essentially, there were these whistleblowers, like I told you, in the military and within the CIA apparatus that came forward to reveal that the deep state had a technology, which they stole, of course. Please do not miss the part that I keep explaining to you. These people are not smarter than you. They're just more evil. They steal, they plunder, and they steal things, and then they rewrite history and pretend that they were geniuses. Anyways, they have a knack for murder, they have a knack for theft, and this time, just like a lot of times before, they stole a device from the ancient Sumerian civilization that's located in modern day Iraq. And
I think is it the Tower of Babel or Agartha or one of these other places is located in Iraq allegedly, and the Sumerians had a device that they could use with their batteries that could see into the future, and it was also connected to the Mayan calendar, which is why it stopped working in 2012. And Charlie Kirk was one of the people that had the ability to use it, and that's where he saw his own death and planned all of this stuff out. It's good.
Very advanced civilization. They're obsessed also with Egyptian civilization, as we discussed yesterday. The Satanists kind of taking and reintroducing these things. First, they keep them to themselves. They hoard these things, and then they kind of give us certain aspects of technology as time goes on. So they steal this piece of technology and they incorporate it into a computer, and suddenly they're apparently able to predict future outcomes. Just imagine the deep state being able to look into a glass, so to speak. The Sumerian culture was known for their advancement in glass, and to see different outcomes. I mean, the amount of power that you would have. And then,
dude, that's a good song, dude. I like that song. Thank you, Amorite boy.
Also fathom in your mind that the people that are Satanists have this power. Take a listen.
This is where things take a turn. Because according to Bill Wood, a former Navy SEAL with high-level clearance, the US military once had access to a device called Project Looking Glass, a technology that could supposedly view potential future timelines.
The project was shut down because there was a problem when we approached 2012. The timelines converge on that point in time. When you know how string theory works and how the possibility of possibilities works, and how making one choice over here doesn't necessarily mean that the other choice couldn't exist at the same time. But once you get your brain wrapped around this subject, you find out that at the end of 2012, in an easy way to put it, the choices that we make become less and less consequential to the future. And eventually we're...
First off, anytime a SEAL speaks, just ignore it. This is not the same SEAL, but this is a different SEAL that I found the other day. Ex-Navy SEAL with ties to El Paso convicted of plotting attack during protest. Former U.S. Navy SEAL Gregory Vandenberg, 49, has been convicted of plotting to drive from El Paso to San Diego, California, to throw explosives at law enforcement during the June 14th, 2025 No King's Day. So, SEALs, sorry, Freudian slip there, and being stable and not selling out to a book deal, challenge impossible, I guess.
We're pushed into this bottleneck of time, no matter which choice we make.
Okay, so is that certainly 2012 in your understanding?
It's well coincides with December 21st, 2012.
So at that point, all possibilities lead to the same
timelines.
Rubicon.
All possible timelines lead to the same basic set of history in the future.
And after that, they shut it all down.
So yeah, Operation Looking Glass, you can look into this stuff, whether there's any truth to it. Ancient aliens, Sumerians, the CIA gets up to lots and lots of wacky things. But I will say that all possible timelines did converge on this one moment of Charlie Kirk's death, and of course, this clip.
You don't get to ask those questions. What's wrong with you, Mom? Why are you so scared?
Yeah. You're welcome, gentlemen. All right, but now we get into the rage bait part of this stream, gentlemen. You've made it this far. For those of you with weak constitutions, I will see you in the next stream. Have a Have a good time. But for the rest of us that are still here, Carl Benjamin, base posting. I'm pretty sure this is a hate crime in his country, but fair enough. Good for going for it. Sicko recorded himself stabbing sleeping passenger to death on the same Chicago train that the woman late last year, was set on fire a few months ago. We have the link to the story here. Sicko recorded himself stabbing sleeping passenger to death on the same train. Now, is the video going to be any good on this, or is it loading an ad? Here, let's see. No. All right, so a maniac allegedly recorded himself fatally stabbing a sleeping train passenger on the same Chicago Transit Authority line. 26-year-old Bethany McGee was set on fire by a lunatic. I hate lunatics. I hate maniacs. All right. I hate lunatics. That's so obnoxious. Don't you hate it when a lunatic, when a maniac stabs you to death while recording it? Don't you just hate that? According to prosecutors, Demetrius Thurman, 40, allegedly crept up behind a sleeping 37-year-old Dominic Polion on the Blue Line train with his phone in one hand and a knife in the other, and hit record before he stabbed Polion in the chest and abdomen around 2:15 a.m. on Saturday. Polion, who had been asleep for about an hour, woke up screaming and backed away from Thurman, who pursued him before turning the camera into selfie mode. As Polion collapsed, prosecutors claimed at Thurman's first hearing on Tuesday. Now, I feel like the justice system needs to be quick and executive in their decision making, and I mean that both literally and metaphorically. If somebody records himself committing murder, I mean, what else do you want? Like, it should be hanging instantaneously. Thurman switched train cars when the train stopped at Clark Lake Station in the Loop. A passenger alerted security about Polion, but he was wearing so many layers of clothing, it was not immediately clear that he had been stabbed. Thurman, who was still recording the scene from the platform, then turned his Ford towards them and said, "Somebody got his ass," before fleeing the situation, prosecutors allege. Not the brightest bulb in the light box, okay? Not the sharpest tool in the shed. Polion was rushed to Northwest Memorial Hospital, where he died from his wounds. The senseless attack was also caught on CTV surveillance footage. See, you notice now how they used to push for surveillance footage and for body cam footage, and now they're hesitant to release it because they know if you had it, you would be angry, you would be furious, you would have hatred in your heart for the actions that some of these people commit. So they try and hide it from you. Thurman was identified through facial recognition program and was arrested the next day on Canal Street wearing the same clothes he had on during the stabbing. Police seized his cell phone and discovered the grisly point-of-view footage of the attack after obtaining a search warrant. The deadly stabbing comes months after McGee, 26, was riding the Blue Line train November 17th when Lawrence Reed, a repeat offender with 72 prior arrests, doused her with gasoline and set her ablaze. While engulfed in flames, she managed to hop off the train at the same Clark Lake Station, collapsing on the platform where Good Samaritans jumped in to help. McGee was hospitalized in critical conditions, suffering burns on more than 60% of her body. Now, I am very curious here. I'm just going to do a widow Google check. Okay, so I'm going to type in this guy's name into Google, and I am going to see a previous arrest because I'm just not sure. Okay, but maybe there were some prior signs. Okay,
I'm going to guess more than a dozen. That's my first.
A real life snuff film. Let's see. Man charge 4037. Previously. This one has some. So, according to this, he does have a criminal past. So he got supervision for disorderly conduct in 2014. So no jail time, no arrest. A DUI in 2017 and another arrest in 2023, but he pleaded guilty to it and got supervision. So at least 3 priors, although I would not be shocked if it was more, but exactly 0 jail time. Exactly 0 jail time. But that only priors I see so far are just 3 specifically. Although I don't know how many actual interactions he's had. But yeah. Yeah, don't be on trains with lunatics and maniacs. How about that? Slightly lighter in tone, but when the fajitas lunch tasted a little too good, this is just funny, okay? This is a little humorous. There are no words. ICE ate, of course, this is some lefty libtard retard. Redundant, but there are no words. ICE agents ate lunch at a small local Mexican restaurant in Minnesota, enjoyed their meal, then came back later that night as the restaurant was closing down and arrested the people who had served them. Fajita is just a little too good. I'm pretty sure those were authentic. Let's go ahead and come back and check the paperwork. Yeah, of course the meals were the investigation part of it. It's just funny, all right? Federal agents detained 3 workers from a family-owned Mexican restaurant in Wilmar yesterday, hours after 4 agents ate lunch there. It was not immediately clear what the immigration status of those detained was or whether the people detained included the restaurant's owners or only workers. Eyewitnesses declined to give a name for fear of retribution, told the Minnesota Star Tribune that 4 ICE agents sat in a booth for a meal at El Tapatio, whatever the name is, a little before 3 p.m. Staff at the restaurant were frightened, said the eyewitnesses. Why were they frightened? Here's the thing, like, if you're an American citizen, if you're American, if you're born in America, right, to American parents, not a lot to worry about. But, I mean, if some of the workers maybe aren't supposed to be there, if, you know, maybe you're overstaying your visa or any number of things, maybe then it's problematic for you. Maybe there's a reason to be afraid. The arrest happened around 8:30 p.m. near Lutheran Church in Wilmar Middle School as agents followed the workers after they closed it for the night. A handful of bystanders blew whistles and shouted at the agents as they detained the people. Would your mama be proud of you right now? One of the bystanders asked. Yes, undoubtedly making our communities safer one day at a time by deporting, restricting people who should not be here. So to answer your question, my mama be damn proud. All right. My mama be damn proud. How about that? You couldn't imagine leftoid, liberal. All right. Well, here we go. How about this? Probably nothing is going to happen, right? If I was a betting man, if I was on Polymarket, I'd probably be all in on nothing happening, but it's at least a nice symbolic gesture. Many such cases. But Minnesota Governor Walz and the mayor of Minneapolis, Fry, under investigation. Under DOJ investigation. So will something come of it? Probably not. Let's play this. Website, please.
He's investigating Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry for allegedly impeding law enforcement efforts on the ground. Again, confirming that DOJ investigation. Progressive Democrats, meantime, were in Minneapolis today, rallying around protesters, claiming the Trump administration is to blame for the chaos. The remarks from Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and Pramila Jayapal come after another night of disorder in Minneapolis. Congressional correspondent Bill Malugin has the story live from inside Minneapolis. Good evening, Bill.
Brett, good evening to you. We begin with some breaking news. You just mentioned it just moments ago. Multiple DOJ sources confirming to Fox News that Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry are now both under federal investigation for allegedly interfering with immigration enforcement here in Minnesota. We are told that probe is early but ongoing. More on that for our viewers as we get it. In the meantime, despite a snowstorm out here in Minneapolis, it appears we are headed for yet another night of protests on the
Dude, it's miserable out there right now. It was like 30, 40 mile an hour gusts of wind, 17 degrees. Tomorrow here in South Dakota, it has a high of like 2. It has a high of like 2 degrees. It's miserable out here right now. We only got a little dusting. We got like a ½ inch of snow, but it is miserable out right now. So I would not be surprised to see these protests migrate somewhere else.
The ground. You can see the crowd continues to grow here at the federal Whipple building here in Minneapolis. These federal agents aren't backing down, and the the protesters say they aren't going anywhere either. Tensions and tear gas flaring in Minnesota as anti-ICE chaos boils over. Protesters
I mean, anti-ICE, sure, but it's just anti-law enforcement, right? They want a certain group of people to be allowed to break the law at will, right? They want the laws to not matter when it benefits them. Of course. Useful idiots, all of them.
Taking out their anger on federal immigration agents and their vehicles outside of the federal building in Minneapolis Thursday night as the two sides squared off once again.
Almost there. Oh, I forgot about this. Yeah. I don't know how this happens, but a police cruiser got left alone and surrounded by protesters, vandalized, and then they stole the rifle case out of the back. Now, you will never guess who stole the rifle out of the back of this police cruiser, Richard. Who got arrested by this? Do you know? No. It was a Mexican gang member who had ties to the Three Kings or something, like one of the local gangs.
Really?
It was a literal gang member who already had like priors and was wanted on other things. He was the guy who stole the gun out of the back of the car. It's like, these are the people that you're actively defending, is gang members, sex traffickers, prostitution rings, drug rings, murderers, rapists. Like these are your guys. This is your team, guys. All right.
Wow. The feds are cracking down on the lawlessness, arresting a man accused of being a part of this mob as they broke into and vandalized an FBI vehicle. Homeland Security charging Raul Gutierrez, who they say is a Latin Kings gang member, with stealing a rifle and bought.
It's always the people you most expect. All right. You know, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover or something. But then why does the book cover have the title on it and usually a little description? Okay, I'm just saying, like, you can tell a lot about a book by its cover. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Minnesota.
It does have the back page, full description.
You are not alone, and we will stand up for real account.
All right. Oh, damn it. I hate how it goes small again. Can you stop doing that? I'm frustrated.
Why does it look like that?
Well, how many Americans are in this photo?
None.
Certainly, nobody in this picture should be allowed to vote. Not a single person in here should be allowed to vote.
Accountability for justice for all of you and for all of America.
As some progressives call to defund ICE, congressional Democrats held a field hearing in nearby St. Paul today. They point the finger at the Trump administration for the ongoing violence that intensified after an ICE agent shot and killed Renee Good in what DHS calls self-defense.
It is increasingly clear that the entire purpose of these actions is to provoke chaos and fear in order to justify invoking the insurrection.
Married her brother, by the way. Should be deported. Not an American.
Act and expand the president's ability to rain terror upon American cities who do not vote for him.
While President Trump has threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act, for now, he says he's not quite ready to send in the military.
I don't think there's any reason right now to use it, but if I needed it, I'd use it. It's very powerful.
And Brett, just moments ago, DHS released yet another worst of the worst list of criminal illegal aliens arrested by ICE right here in Minneapolis. Yesterday alone, they include a convicted murderer from Vietnam, a man from the Marshall Islands with 24 separate criminal convictions, and multiple convicted drug traffickers. We'll send it back to you.
Bill Maluchin.
Thanks, homie. Appreciate it, dog. Yeah, I mean, the Insurrection Act is usually something that like Democrats love to like fear monger about, but it's been instituted like 37 times in our nation's history, or like 50 times. It's like a large number of times that the Insurrection Act has actually been brought out. So it's not like, oh, this is unheard of. This has never happened before. It's like, no, dozens of presidents have used the Insurrection Act before. And I mean, you're harboring literal non-Americans, foreign adversaries on our homeland, and it's in national security interest to make it not so. Now, speaking of ICE and protesters and other silly little things, let's go to this one right here. Okay, so Barack Obama FBI didn't kill enough Black Panthers. Now I need to be careful with this, but this is a Black Panther, we was Kangs type of dude. All right, talking about how he wants to slime. Is that the word that the kids use now? Slime, or to slime federal agents. I don't know about you, but I feel like if I call for the sliming of federal agents, like I would get like a not so nice knock on my door. However, a certain group of people are allowed to just, you know, call for violence openly. Fair enough.
Won't no ICE agent ever run up on me. I guarantee you they won't. I'll put a hole in their chest the size of a window. Safe line repair, safe line replace. That's what's gonna happen. They touch me. Unarmed woman was killed by ICE. If you think you're about to come and brutalize the people while we're standing here, fuck around and find out. Our interactions with the police and ICE, and we hold them accountable. We hold them accountable. We patrol the community and we hold them accountable. The Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, we're the same Panther Party from back in the day, but we're a little more aggressive now, you dig? Carry bigger guns and we don't take no shit. Places where there are a lot of immigrants at, I think that the community around them needs to take special care to them. And
yeah, I mean, but that is literally it. It is a us versus them mentality, right? They explicitly defend people who are not American, right? I mean, I feel like Black Panther, I'm not sure why we didn't just solve that problem back then, right? Just label them a terrorist organization and give them all life in prison, or a more efficient option in terms of taxpayer dollars, of course, but they are explicitly against us, right? Against natural born, against white people. They hate you and they love replacing you. It's simple as.
Well, here's the thing, though, John. If they had completely dismantled and disposed of the Black Panther Party, they would not have been able to use them as a tool, as a hammer to destroy these communities, right?
Well, of course, that's why these people are allowed to operate, right? They're destabilizing agents. They're multifactorial, okay? Because of course, in a just society, okay, if in any sort of reasonable country, if there was an armed group of un-American people or just anti-national people parading around in the streets, how they were going to prevent law enforcement, like under some medieval kingship, they would just be like dragged and quartered in the streets, right? It'd be pretty simple.
needs to start escorting them to and from everywhere to make sure that they're safe. Because them ICE agents ain't going to act like that if it's a bunch of people standing outside with assault rifles and shotguns. It's a semi-automatic shotgun.
That, by the way, is one of those Turk Nelly clone. Not Turk Nelly, obviously, but it's one of those Turkish shotgun clones. That's just absolute garbage. This is like a $299 G4 special right here.
That means some shotgun shells are shooting.
Well, I mean,
they're $199, right?
They're cheap, right? But whatever the actual price tag is, that's mostly the irrelevant part of it. But yeah, it's a cheap Turk shotgun that might get a couple rounds through it if this guy's ever really shot it any serious amount, because they're very hit and miss.
Shoot out of a pump, they shoot them rapidly. If you are going to legally arm yourself.
Olight spotted. All right, Olight.
Arm yourself with something bigger than what they got. Those who serve in the public, they should be fearful of the public. They should be fearful that the public's going to be dissatisfied with their job that they're doing, not feeling like they're tyrants, not feeling like they're bullies because they got guns and body armor and walkie-talkies. That makes them immune to whatever the people would do. I think you want to correct the ideology of the pig and the mentality of the slave catcher. You meet them with equal force. All power to the motherfucking people.
Yeah, ask him what people. Oh, no, not those people. Those people are like not my favorite. I don't like those people. Yeah, which people? Which people? Speaking of people, I just want to how do I don't even know how to lead into this story, right? Because this is rage bait. So the story is very, very important in a strange way, but it fits. Okay, so yeah, try not to get too Fed posty here, gents, but this is your current legal system at work. Clark County, Nevada gives vicious monster Christian Rubino a free pass for the savage torture murder of his ex-girlfriend's toddler, Kai Tesaro, which is this little child here on the right. Rubino broke both of his legs, beat him till his brain and retinas hemorrhaged, and he got 5 years of probation for the brutalistic murder of a toddler. Torture murder of a toddler. So we have the dichotomy of man, right? We have this wonderful man here, his grandfather at the beginning of the stream, who runs out to take 2 kids out of a busy intersection and take them back to their family. We have this wonderful man doing good for his neighbors, doing good for his country, doing good for his people. And then we have monsters, right? Monsters. And it takes 2 types of people, okay? It takes this one to protect children in a kind and outgoing sort of way. And then also from earlier today, if you remember, it takes this type of man who will hunt the people down who are going to hurt your children and your people and your country communities. It takes both types of people, okay? So sometimes when you have a monster like this, it might take a similar sort of monster, but for a moral purpose to stop people like this from being able to act out really anything. A man convicted of killing his girlfriend's 1-year-old child will avoid prison time after prosecutors noticed issues with evidence that could have resulted in a not guilty verdict. In 2024, a Clark County grand jury voted to indict Christian Rubino, 29, on first-degree murder and child abuse for the death of Kai Tesaro, who was 17 months old at the time of his death. Now, my son Alex, 16 months old right now, 17 months old right now. This might as well be one of our sons, right? Or somebody in our neighborhood, somebody in our community. Police identify Rubino as Kai's mother's girlfriend. Last November, Rubino entered an Alford plea to a charge of voluntary manslaughter. Record said through an Alford plea, a defendant acknowledges prosecutors may have enough evidence to lead to a jury to convict them, but at no time do they admit guilt. As part of the plea agreement, prosecutors agreed to a sentence of probation. The voluntary manslaughter charge itself carries a sentence of 1 to 10 years, documents said, but the plea deal negated any prison time. So because of a limited evidence or not enough evidence to perfectly pursue first-degree murder, a plea deal with no prison time. A plea deal with no prison time. As part of the plea agreement, prosecutors agreed again, no prison time in court Tuesday. Clark District Court Judge Jacqueline Bluth. Jacqueline Bluth? A former prosecutor who worked on child homicides noted prosecutors' issues heading toward trial and her disappointment with the terms of the deal. The state believed it had some evidentiary issues if we had gone to trial, Chief Deputy District Attorney Dene Renetti said in court. In these cases, typically there are no eyewitnesses, and so you're relying upon caregivers to give the most accurate information. Well, I mean, the only witness to the murder was 17 months old, and he was also the victim. Renetti highlighted potential trying, witness statements, unexplained older injuries discovered during the autopsy. This was a rare negotiation for me in this type of case. Likely the abuse had been going on for a long period of time, either by this individual or others, which happens when you don't have a father in the house. This is a rare negotiation for me as well in this type of case. I take these cases very, very seriously, but I also have to live with the facts of the case and what I can prove at trial. On June 1st, 2024, Metro Police received a call about a child later identified as Kai who was not breathing. Paramedics transported Kai to a hospital where doctors noted that he had bruising to his head and a fracture to his right leg. The child's mother told police Kai fell off a bed a few days prior and bumped his head. Obvious lies we've heard this story before. I know people who have had to deal with child abuse and endangerment and neglect situations, and this sort of lie is the most common. Doctors later determined Kai had several brain bleeds and a fractured leg, possibly caused by a large amount of force. A doctor also noted Kai suffered from non-accidental trauma to his eyes from suspected shaking and noted the alleged abuser was one of the worst cases he had seen. I think, personally, we just remove everybody involved. Every single one of them. Every person that allowed this to happen. The mother too, right? At some point we just remove all of them. Kai's mother later told police that she witnessed Rubino shake the child before and abuse him. Specifically, police wrote Rubino became frustrated with Kai's inability to walk on his own and slammed Kai feet first on the floor, document said. So wait, is it because Kai's dead that you can't charge him with child abuse? I'm confused. If you have
what happened to no eyewitnesses?
If you have witnesses and testimony that he was abusing Kai, who cares that he also went on to murder Kai? If you can't get the manslaughter, can you prove the abuse because you have doctor's evidence that there was prior abuse? Sorry, yeah, you killed the guy, the kid, the child, the toddler. And we can't charge you for abuse because we don't have enough evidence to convict you on murder? Huh.
I don't know how bailiffs do it. I really don't.
We've got a person here. We're talking about a minuscule amount of time that they have to pay for taking the life of a 1.5-year-old child. Kai's grandfather, Steve Tesaro, told the court he had no voice. He was 1.5 years with no voice. He couldn't tell anybody. That he was scared to death. All that took place. He couldn't say a word. That's why I'm here today for him. Rubino spent more than 1 year in jail awaiting a jury trial. See, this is the thing, though. I wonder if this was part of the calculation was, well, he's already spent 1 year in jail, so we'll just give him probation with time served, right? With credit for time served. Just like, I feel like somebody should have taken care of him in jail, which was scheduled to begin this week. He ended with his plea. During a hearing for the plea deal, Clark County District Court Judge Jacqueline Bluth allowed Rubino to await sentencing on house arrest. Really? I don't like this deal. I don't like this negotiation, but I do believe that it's my duty under these circumstances to follow it. You will get one shot. You step sideways on this, and I will not bat an eye at sending you away for the maximum. He murdered a kid, right?
What are the previous convictions?
I owe you nothing. You mess up, I'm sending you to prison. See, this is like, this sounds tough. Like, you mess up again, I'm going to send you to prison. Well, you know who doesn't ever get the chance to mess up? I. Well, this is the retarded thing. If he drinks alcohol or uses drugs, you'll send him to prison for 10 years. He already, like, oh, you think this guy's going to be clean for 10 years after having a history of abusing? What a nonsense joke of a justice system. Huh. What a joke. What a joke. And it's at times like these when people lose faith in any sort of justice in the so-called justice system, when people see that it's truly two-tiered. Some people can abuse and murder children and get away with nothing. And like we've seen people, 72 prior arrests, and you can burn a woman on a train, live recording a stabbing of a sleeping passenger. Of course, Rutska. Oh yeah, and just recording the aftermath. Oh, somebody got him. Yeah. It's going to turn people into vigilantes, and rightly so. Right? Imagine being like Kai's uncle, right? You're a couple states away. You kind of know it's a not so good situation, and then this happens, but you really don't have the ability to do anything in there. And then you find out this happens, and that this monster is wandering. Like, wouldn't it be your moral duty to do something about this, to right this injustice? Right? I mean, at some point, if there is no justice in the justice system, that people have to take policing into their own hands. I feel like that's just a necessary consequence of this sort of thing happening.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Once this monster reoffends, and he will, He will
Of
hurt
course.
somebody else.
Yeah, you think he's not going to drink alcohol in the next 5 years? Because that breaks his probation, right? And then we'll send you to jail. If you have a sip of alcohol, that's what a joke. You have a sip of alcohol, go to jail for 10 years. Murder a kid.
What happens when he gets drunk and decides that the mother can get some too, and he just goes after her?
Well,
because-
the mother probably has already gotten some as well. Because I imagine if he was abusing the kid for being a 17-month-old toddler,
I'm more
sure
so
that
saying that he's going to get pissed drunk and just go execute her like he did the fucking kid.
Yeah.
Because she eventually told them, well, I seen him hit the child. I seen him abuse the child. The mother should have put that monster down.
Well, right, but the mother was complicit, which is why I would slime her as well, personally. Like, I mean, listen, I know women get a lot of passes in this society. However, if you allow Candace Owens can get it. If you allow this sort of thing to happen to your child who is defenseless, who is 1 year old, its only voice in the world is you, the mother, right? And you do not take it out of that situation. You do not take him out of that situation. You do not go to the police immediately. If you allow it to continue, that blood is literally on your hands as the mother. I don't care that you were abused. I don't care that you were lied to. The kid's dead, murdered, and the blood is on your hands. That will be part of your judgment if you ever get to see your child again. All right. Maybe a little bit lighter rage bait, but still rage bait. Still rage bait.
Why does his face look like that?
I don't know what skin suit he's currently wearing or why he chose to make it an Indian skin suit. Like, of all the skin suits one could wear, Indian's got to be like the worst, right? That's like the discount skin suit. You know, you're at the murder rape store for serial killers and you're trying to buy a skin suit and there's the discount rack. It's all Indians, right? So I don't know why he did that. Maybe it's just poor or something, but not my first choice. Not my first choice.
You remember what was his name? Jeb from Men in Black, the original one, the farmer.
Yes, dude. It's been. I've only ever seen
played by
it once,
Vincent
and it's.
D'Onofrio, I believe.
Oh, really? Yeah. That is what it looks like. You are right. This week I want to abolish ICE. Deport. Representative Thandar. This week, I intend to introduce a bill to abolish ICE. Yes, because they're enforcing laws. We must stop them. And this is the guy that's telling you. He's trying to be the moral code. He's trying to be the moral police here. We need to stop this brutalization of our people because we wouldn't want people doing bad things now, would we, Richard? We wouldn't want people who are evil and sadistic
Green
out there
is
on the
with him.
streets.
The guy to
Well,
his right.
just
that guy's even
just
dumber.
wait. Well, yeah. Well, I could have told you that without knowing his name.
ICE is beyond reform. ICE is totally out of control. And this week, I intend to introduce a bill to abolish ICE. We need to make ICE go away. ICE.
We need to make you go a gay. We need to make you go. I'm now speaking Indian. We need you to go away permanently, Mr. Sri Thanadar. Funny, none of those were in the founding or the Civil War or really outside of the last 50 years or so. But no, I don't think that you get to tell us really anything personally, but certainly not immigration policy, especially on people who are illegally here. Listen, Mr. Thanadar, if you want to, your team, if you want to defend your pedos and your rapists and your murderers and your gang members, your gang bangers, your prostitution rings, your sex traffickers, if you want to defend those, go ahead. That's your call, bro. But personally, after they're finished with everybody else in Minneapolis, I feel like you should be next in terms of deportation because it's time to revoke the American paper citizen. It's time to just say, no, thank you. No. We're not doing this again. No. We learned our lesson. We tried to be nice. You retards couldn't handle it. We're done. We're done.
ICE is beyond reform. ICE is totally out of control. And this week, I intend to...
The idea that a man who is this man, who can barely speak English, telling American law enforcement to stop doing their job so that other people who look and act like him can remain here against the people's will. It's all so comical. Oh, also comical is Thanadar is an evil psychopath. This retard here. Vicious Michigan Democrat known for animal cruelty who left 118 beagles in lab to starve is leading the Trump impeachment push. Huh. Mr. Thanadar, I just feel like you shouldn't be able to tell me anything. Honestly, I don't feel like you should really be allowed to speak to me personally or speak publicly in any way, shape, or form, but certainly not on things of moral matters or ethical constraints or law or order. Again, I would prefer you not to be in our hemisphere personally, right? But if you want to talk about morality or who shouldn't be here or beyond reform, doing away with entities, well, we can talk, we're talking about different types of entities though, to be clear. Yeah, this guy trying to be the moral police, trying to tell you, American, what you should believe, who you should accept here, what ICE should be allowed to do. All right, buddy. Sure, dude. Sure. I feel like we need something a little bit lighter, Mr. Star Wars name. I feel like we need something a little bit lighter to end the stream on than that. But I don't know. Ugh. See, my bookmarks are just are a place of horrors. Because like I haven't like you want one more? Why not? Fine, there's one more. Rage bait. Sorry, we're extending rage bait until further notice. 18-year-old Savage daycare employee confessed to intentionally suffocating infant boy. 18 years old, huh? Just a toddler being a little too loud. Toddler being a little too aggressive. You don't like the look of that little white boy. Little white girl. Why does it seem like there's so many cases of this? Now, if you want to get into it, this is of course it's in Minnesota. Daycare worker allegedly admits to suffocating baby to death, says shy of first birthday to seek attention. Listen, women in the chat. There's none of you in the chat, okay? There's no women in the chat, okay? But you should not give up the best years of your life to some 9-to-5 corporate hellhole so that you can have your sons and daughters raised by people who hate you, who hate your way of life. They're going to raise them. They're going to imprint their value system or lack thereof. Or if you're really unlucky, maybe they'll just kill them because they're being a little obnoxious. She won't be quiet. I'm just going to murder her. Hurdy her. My name is Thea Ludima Russell. 18 was booked into jail on charges of second-degree murder and felony assault in the first and third degree. A Minnesota daycare worker. Minnesota daycare. Really? I feel like we just need less of these people. Was arrested this week after she allegedly admitted to suffocating 2 babies. One of them didn't die, including an 11-month-old boy who died in September. This young man, abandoned by the mother, left there by the father, if the father was even in the picture, in a daycare so that the mom could go work, so that the daycare could collect federal funds, murdered by an 18-year-old. Well, they described her as savage, okay? But I think that's proper term, to be fair. Thea Ladima Russell, 18, was booked into jail on charge of second-degree murder, blah, blah, blah. Russell committed the alleged crimes to seek attention. Now, look how far down they hide the picture of the perpetrator.
I was wondering when they would get to it. What's that? Over halfway down?
No, yeah, it's basically towards the bottom. We have probable cause to believe that Thea Russell intentionally suffocated these children on 3 occasions to seek attention, and that third incident tragically resulted in the death of Harvey Mucklebust. Russell was arrested at her home and taken in for police questioning, during which she allegedly provided detailed descriptions of how she carried out the suffocations of both children. According to Harvey's obituary, he was 5 days shy of his first birthday. Yeah. Apologize for the lack of words.
Yeah, I'm being very careful right now because, yeah.
Private P Pants says revenge is in God's hands, right, Christians? Yeah, we do believe that is entirely correct as Christians, but it is also true that God uses many different forms, variants, peoples, nations to exact his judgments upon people. This is clear throughout the Old Testament and the New, that God raises up nations to destroy the evil and the wicked. He used the ancient Israelites to remove the Canaanites from the land because they were horrifying monsters who would sacrifice children to Moloch and burn them alive and do blood ritual sacrifices and all these other things. And God commanded them to be exterminated. He used the Israelite people. When the Israelites themselves, you can see this all throughout the Old Testament, when they turned away from God and started to practice these pagan rituals, that God would raise up other nations. Egypt, Assyria at the time, Nebuchadnezzar, of course, Babylon, to come and enslave the Israelites until they learn their lessons. So no, God absolutely does have judgment, and we believe permanent judgment. And there is no judgment outside of Christ. Like from the atheist paradigm, there is no justice. There's just nothing, right? But from the Christian paradigm, there is true justice in an eternal sense, right? And we also have the most hopeful side of explanations as well, because like if you are an atheist and like an 18-year-old or a child dies, right? In that case, just over a year. Harvey was not even a year yet. Kai was 17 months. So we believe those children are in paradise, right? Whereas an atheist is just like, sorry that happened, I guess. Well, and I mean, it's revenge is specific, though. Revenge is specific to that. But yeah, justice is to be doled out by people and nations. Very simple. Very, very simple. All right. Moonman for 5 says, righteous men do not ask consent, and neither do I, Focus. Yeah, could you imagine asking for consent? How cringe. Thank you, Moonman. Appreciate it. We're going to finish up here, and we're going to get out. It's been a bit of a rough night. I hope you guys have a great weekend, okay? Better start to the weekend than the better end of the weekend than the beginning. And next week at SHOT Show, I will attempt to make it less dark. Mr. Johnny Moo for 2 says, what do you call a cheap circumcision? A ripoff. That is good. Ask your local Moyle. Moonman for 5 says, yo, Candace is circling around to being good. I want to hear her thoughts on Tartaria being real and actually having existed in Wyoming. Yeah, dude, let's bring back the mud floods. Let's get back to the mud flood era on YouTube. That's what I want to talk about. Thank you, Moonman. Moonman for 2 says, focus, I pay good money. Give me that thing. I'll give it to you. You'll like it. You're not even going to be able to say no by the time I'm done with you. Thank you, Moonman. Lightsport for 2 says, grips like a black grabbing a banana in reference to Candace Owens. It's many people have theorized.
You don't get to ask those questions. What's wrong?
Thank you. Todd Dog for 2 says, I would do Candace if she was white. You would too. Well, I'm a married man and I only have sex with one woman, my wife, so I would not. Honestly, that's about as much as I can stand. One woman in your life, like, oof. Imagine, dude, okay, imagine making small talk. I've thought about this. Like, imagine making small talk to a woman. Like, when I was young, like, it was like, okay, yeah, you want to find a wife, you want to find a girl. But now I'm like, wouldn't that just be painful? Isn't that
now this
miserable?
is the one time where I think Mormons might be onto something, because they
just get
small talk
married.
with them and-
It's 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks. You date for like 2 or 3 weeks and then you get married.
Well, no,
And then you have a bunch of
when they
kids.
have multiple wives, then the wives just talk to each other. I mean, you don't even have to worry about the small talk.
That's very fair. Very fair.
I mean,
but yeah, no, like I've thought, like me and my wife talked about this. Like, what if one of us died and we had to like date again? Like, misery. Moonman for 5 says, a talent for murder, she says. Does she have a buff for outnumbering the opponent 2 to 1? Well, she did. I didn't get the clip of that where she talks about the Egyptians, the Egyptians, the Egyptians stealing the ancient Sumerian tech. I didn't get that clip, but that is also a clip that's floating around that's very good. I think Jay Dyer has that one. Mr. Johnny Moo for 5 says, Helen Keller walked into a bar, then a stool, then a table, then a step.
you know how Helen Karen's parents punished her when she was misbehaving?
I don't know.
They rearranged the furniture.
Ah, that's good.
You know what they did when she was really bad?
What?
They leave the plunger in.
Oh my gosh. Jeez. Sabardic Psycho for 2 says, yeah, but how do the Nephilim tie into this? Yeah, tell me how the Nephilim tie into this, and the Anakim and the 6-fingered ones. That's what I need to talk about. Huge Ass for 2 says, lunatics can get the rope. Yeah, lunatics and maniacs and savages. Oh my. Moonman for 10 says, I'm simply out here strongly advocating being allowed to behave like the worst bandits in a Fallout game to these people and the people who try to stop me, which is just as bad, to be honest. I mean, it's a meme, right? It's kind of a joke, but when you have a society that is so evil, that is so corrupt beyond repair, does it not call for people to take matters like just mechanistically? It requires people to do the things that others won't, right? I mean, when you're like one step away from anarchy, or you're in anarcho tyranny where some people are allowed to act in anarchy, but everyone else is held to very strict rules, right? People are going to start coloring outside of the lines, and it shouldn't be that way, right? It should just, if order was upheld, no one would be having these conversations. So do that or things will happen, right? That's just a natural consequence of society degrading into this. Over on Rumble, Just Some Space Cowboy for 2 says, okay, it's time to go to the asylums, Mrs. Owens. Grippy Socks, Grippy Box. Just Some Space Cowboy says, sorry, Mrs. Owens. Bushmaster for 5 says, if Charlie Kirk is Professor X, would that make Ben Shapiro Magneto? It's all coming together. Yeah, it's the new Marvel psyop. Charlie Kirk will return in Avengers Doomsday.
No, I think Andrew Clavin is Professor X. I mean, he already looks the part.
Mm. Mm. It's also Jewish, and so was Magneto. So,
yep.
Over on Ko-Fi, Rob for 10 says, "I think PSA's problem is their QC department is filled with nons. You know, you pay the lowest of the low wages, you have the worst of the worst managing staff, and yeah, you just get mid-tier crappy products. Not even mid-tier, I mean like crappy products." Candace Owens can ride my rod for 3. Says Candace Owens looks like she could suck a golf ball through a garden hose with those DSLs. All right. Candace Owens can get it. Says I bet Candace dips low in reverse cowgirl. Some of you guys. Lightsport says one day we will reap the same punishment to the families of these judges and politicians. For example, Tim Walz will get to watch as I give him a new grandchild. Whoa. All right. Candace Owens can back it up. I bet Candace gives good sloppy toppy. Candace Owens, please sit on my face. Says, I bet Candace got grip like a retard holding a crayon. I thought those Ko-Fis were going to be much darker, but I'm actually pleasantly surprised that they were mostly just simping after Candace Owens rather than
Candace
Fed posting. That's actually a good point. Moonman for 5 says Ernst Thrum, but less gay, will have to be put down like a rabid animal I am, for my reign of terror will not end. Uwu. Well, you know, it's equal and opposite reactions, right? You know, when animals run amok, or what is it? When a forest grows too wild, purging fire is inevitable. Thank you, Moonman. Huge ass for 5 says guac was good, queso was mid, but they didn't call me amigo. You're under arrest. True. That's what the ICE agents were thinking. They were like, really? $19.99 for the carne asada burrito? Really? I'm coming back here later. Getting my $20 back. Moonman for 10 says my imagination running wild. The only joy Uncle Sam ever taught me, gleaming in my eyes, knowing that there is nothing I could do to them that would be offending to God, that would offend God. Because these people are evil. Ooh. I mean, I've said the joke before that just remember that your enemies are ontologically evil and whatever you do to them is morally justified. But I mean, that joke gets less and less jokey. You know, I'm just saying, right? When it's like, oh, he broke a child's legs and shoved stuff into his eyes and then killed him. It's like, oh yeah, no. You're like a dog. No, you're worse than a dog, because I wouldn't kill a dog unless I had cause to. You're like I don't even know, dude. Yeah. Lightsport for 2 says, which Marvel movie is he from again? I don't know, but he'll be back in Avengers Doomsday. Moonman for 5 says the screams of their mothers holding pictures of them in high school for whatever reason, as you find out new and exciting ways to get erect. This is the type of person that would be like, oh, he didn't do nothing. He doesn't deserve to be in jail. It's like literally what he did. Or what she did. Sabardic for 2 says him and the judge, I want their addresses.
They do exist.
Can someone please return my call? Oh my gosh, thank you. Yeah, that's the thing, you know, they're fairly public. Bomani Igloo for 2 says we don't live in the first world anymore. Well, when you invite, it's again, this is just a saying that's been around for a long time, and it just always holds true. When you invite the third world in, you become the third world. And there are third world solutions to these problems, all right? When you turn my country into Haiti and Chirac, well, we have solutions for that, but you're just not going to like it. Thank you, Bomani. Moonman for 5 says Sabardic and I will find out how durable the judge's relatives are on camera. Ooh, well, that is a interesting side quest in Minecraft. Moonman for 5 says Bluth, crazy surname, familiar. Bet you would miss her kids. Ooh, hope she has to find out one day. I do think that there is like a weird, if you're a karma person, right? It's like, okay, you let the murderer of a child go free with no jail time. It's like, as I'm sure if you have children, surely you should have some empathy for the child murdered, for the parents, for the grandparents, for everybody else involved in that has had that tragically stolen from them. Candace Owens, please return my calls on Ko-Fi. Says, Candace, please return my calls and text. I miss you, Bay. Bay in 2026. Cringe. Moonman. We call them sluts now. Moonman for 5 says, judge just past tense judges at random. Strategy of tension is based. Minecraft anywhere and everywhere. The only motive that more Minecraft is good. Well, you know, there's a chilling effect, right? So what they tried to do with the January 6 rioters, right, is to throw them all in jail for like, you know what's funny, okay? Now that I brought that up, people got like 5 years for walking politely in between ropes during January 6th. But certain individuals can break children's legs, brutalize them, suffocate them, and murder them and get less jail time. Huh. Huge ass for 5 says, women avoiding accountability at the expense of their kids. This is very true. Listen, I don't have sympathy for women in these situations. All right. Women murder their children to avoid accountability for their actions. You get that, right? Like, women murder their children to avoid accountability for their actions because it would be inconvenient for me. So I need to have a quote unquote doctor rip them apart and pull them out piece by piece because that would be inconvenient for me. Okay. So women being evil psychopaths, unaccountable for their actions. Yeah, no passes. No passes for women around here. I'm sorry, you allowed that to happen to your child. You should be standing next to the person who did it on the form. Short drop, sudden stop. Thank you, huge ass. Amorai boy, Hex, Mag, C, and D. That is very funny. I'm not going to talk about that now. We're way too deep into it now, but thank you. Thank you, Amorai boy, for the 2. Huge ass for 2 says, I really hate savage daycare workers. You know, no matter what they call them and all these different names that they get called, it just seems like there's a vein of similarity between them all. Okay. Thank you, huge ass. Subarctic Psycho says, we can't expect God to do all the work. Well, that's the thing. God has given you a job to do. Some of that's to be patriots, to be fathers, to be priests and pastors and members of your community. And sometimes God ordains people for places to be garbage men and to take out the trash, so to speak. Thank you, Subarctic Psycho. Moonman for 5 says, look, it's going to be my boss or someone who drives slow in front of me on a bad day, or it will be these people in bulk. Your call, America. You know, at some point, there will be a solution. At some point. Thank you, Moonman. Bamani Igloo says, rest in peace, kings. Yes, rest in peace. And again, from the Christian paradigm, we believe that children before the age of accountability, I mean, unless you're some sort of mega Calvinist, I'm pretty sure they're the only one that would say, oh yeah, there's a potentiality that an 18-month-old would go to hell, right? But from the Christian paradigm, from the traditional Christian paradigm, children before the age of accountability do go to heaven. Pretty simple. Not dogs, though. Sorry. Moonman for 5 says, the OT has the spiciest Minecraft at God's behest. As long as you do it to the right people, you have a blank check to party. Pretty much. Pretty much. You're not wrong. Now, there's still rules and guidelines for your actions, but yeah, there's pretty explicit commands. Thank you, Moonman. Space Cowboy for 5 says, just went and watched the entirety of AF Granted on 2X, and you're still live. Truly E-boy status. Well, hey, hope you had a good show over there. I don't watch, but I hope it was good. It was probably less depressing than this show. So thank you. Thank you, Space Cowboy. Patches of Julian for 5 says the Painter Man was right. Actually, you know, his artwork was not bad. I'm not a huge fan of like modern painting for the most part, and I call that kind of modern. You know, I'm more of a Baroque man personally. But yeah, the artwork was decent stuff. Some interesting imagery for sure. Jonesy the Boss for 2 says men get arrested, dogs get put down. Logan Sucks at Shooting for 5 says, first I saw that Hara Ura was returning in Avengers Doomsday. Now Charlie Kirk as well. Who's next? You. I'm going to Photoshop you into will return in Avengers Doomsday now. That's good. Thank you, Logan. Appreciate it, man. Hara Urara. How do you say that? Urara? 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 I don't know how to say it. Would make Avengers Doomsday so much better. You need to be Rorschach maxing. Just saying he had a point. Okay, that's all. Nothing crazy. Nothing insane. But yeah, I think that is it. Oh, Bushmaster over on Rumble says to behead the furry. Got to be more specific than that, man. Been a couple furry weirdos out there. Candace Owens can gobble my novel for 3 says, Candace could suck the chrome off of a bumper. Maybe that's what happened to my Geisley barrel. You never know. Never know. Richard, what do you got going on after we black pill Max for this show?
I've got 22 videos coming out tomorrow or something like that.
It's gonna be nuts. Let me see. Let's
see. It's Night Force. Smith & Wesson does 10mm things. PSA updates, and I did want to point out. Does anybody notice that PSA is moving towards pump shotguns, Remington 700 bolt actions, bad warranties, things like that? Very, very reminiscent of something we've seen before. It's almost like it's Freedom Group 2.0, like it was called several years ago. So
JJE, baby, let's go. Good luck out there. You suck, but good luck. Dude, maybe we should end with something fun. This is I was gonna put this in the outro, but I didn't have time for today. I'm sure it'll be an outro for one of the streams next week because I have to pre-make all of the intros and outro because I simply will not have time. Where did I put you? Where did I put you, silly video? Is it this one? No, that's Charlie Kirk. Where did I put you? Where are you?
I'm not sure if you'd be able to watch it, although it's far enough into the stream. You just cut it out later.
Well, I don't want to do that. Where did it? Is it this one? No, that's not it. Where did it go? I know I downloaded it earlier. It's there. Okay, well, it's just audio. Let me see if you guys can. Oh, will it not? Will not just play? Will not just play the audio?
I got nothing.
Okay, you can't hear that right now. Let me turn it down a little bit, but this can be part of the outro. How about that? And then we'll have the regular outro. All right. I got to share the screen though, and then I got to not share the screen. All right. All right, there we go. Here we go. Let's let it play for a second. There we go. All right. You can hear that, right?
Yeah.
All right. James Garner fan says, John, we will jump you for that hoodie. True. All right. But ladies and gentlemen. Oh, sorry. Wrong button. I'll make it a little quieter. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching the stream. I hope you had a wonderful night tonight with the rage bait and everything else. I'll be prepping for SHOT Show over the next couple of days. I'll be there Sunday through Saturday, so be excited for a lot of new videos next week. I will have a video before SHOT Show on the Gun.Deals channel, so go check it out. But with all that away, gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. I will see you in the next one. God bless and Godspeed.
Ein kleines Blümelein und das Heil